desert. My Arrakis. My Dune.
What a ride it's been so far.
Hey everybody, what's up? Good evening, good morning, good evening. Yeah, good evening. Good evening, everybody. How you doing? You do one morning stream and it throws you off. Not one. Friday was the last one. We did a morning stream. Hello everybody. How's it going? Good evening. Welcome in, one and all. Well, great to see you again. Hope you're all doing well today. Hope you're doing better than me. I'm not feeling too great today. Let's get that out the way early. It's going to be a bit of a short, chill one today, and we're just going to be talking about Dune Awakening's update and something. I did something I shouldn't have. I backed another Kickstarter. For the second time in my life. I never do that, but I got sucked in. I got sucked into another one. And the first Kickstarter I ever backed wasn't Star Citizen. Actually, that wasn't the first Kickstarter I backed. The first Kickstarter I ever backed was actually Iron Harvest. So, yeah, it's not even... I was skeptical of Star Citizen in the beginning, so... It's not even... that's not even my first one. That was something else, but... yeah, it's a bit of a chill one today, guys. I've not been feeling too good lately. Today, I don't know, after the weekend, it's hit me, like, worse. I feel just pretty tired today after having some sort of, like, annoying stomach issues and things lately. And because of that, it sapped my energy. And I feel like if I was going to do a longer stream today, it just wouldn't happen. So I'm going to kind of just do a chill one with you guys, hang out, talk a little bit, and then probably call it a day and get a little bit more rest. It's really annoying, man. When you got kids and stuff, the weekends are more tiring than the week. The weekends are more tiring than the week. You come back from the weekend more tired than when than you were on the Friday. It's a horrible phenomenon. Hello, Valric. Thank you very much. Valric, thank you very much, man. I hope you're well. Much appreciated. Let me say hello to everybody who's here. Thanks for being here nice and early, by the way, guys. Attila, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Big Welsh Matt, how are you doing, sir? GT Matt, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Nova, how are you, man? Welcome, Modify. Good evening. Roscoe, how you doing, man? Raber, Kazam, Reiki, what's up, dudes? Capitoast, how are you, man? How's it all going? Exodus, good evening, dude. How are you? Not the first, but Star Citizen is the largest teacher of why not to back Kickstarters. Yeah. Pretty much. And this new one that I'm backing strikes some similarities to Star Citizen as well. It's not a sci-fi game though. I'm actually think when I mention it, a lot of you probably are already well aware of it. And if you're not well aware of it, maybe you suckers will be a Kickstarter by the end of the stream. But no, it's not a sci-fi game. But it looks kind of cool. It's got a much smaller scope, at least initially. No, Nova, no. It's not that. Nova, by the way, thank you very much, man, for the 10 months. Really appreciate it. Thank you for your support, dude. And I notice you're still a Fourth Wall subscriber, so thank you so much for that, man. It's huge. I really appreciate it. And I hope you're well. I hope you've been well. Hope you had a good weekend. Rabbit, how's it going? Welcome back. He says, as someone without kids who happens to go to parties often, they're still more exhausted than weekdays. Oh, that's fair. Yeah, that's true too, Rabbit. You mean you have a social life? What the hell's that like? What's that like, Rabbit? I forgot. Cupan, how you doing? TRF, what's up, dude? How are you? More like kick these nuts, am I right? That's right, Hest. How you doing, Hest? I loved your video earlier. Yeah, that something's got to change about Dune, man. Something's got to change about Dune. When will we learn, Zoop? Good day to you, man. Milshiv, how's it going? Good to see you. It's weeb, isn't it? It's definitely not weeb. That's definitely that would be a bridge too far. I would never go to the world of weebs. You're not getting me to join your madness this time, D. I'm not saying I want you to join the madness. I'm just gonna confess my sins to you in a little bit. But yeah, first we're gonna take a look at this big Dune update that's come from Joel Bylos, the creative director on. The creative, you might notice the jazz music is back for today, guys. That's because it's a chill stream, man. It's a chill stream. That means you got to play the jazz. It didn't feel appropriate to play Dune Awakening's music. It didn't feel appropriate to play Star Citizen's music. And I figured, what am I going to do? I need something in between. So we're back to the jazz playlist. It's been a while. OGs will know. You burned yourself out on Dune already, Nova. Really? And like how many hours? Where did you get to? Hey, Snake, how are you, man? Good to see you. Oh my God, Zup, you know, it's almost exactly that. It only started to exist once I moved across the country, but it's been good so far. Moving to cities, you know your friends live, helped a lot. That does help, yeah. Yeah, when you do, if you do get kids or a partner, the social life very difficult to maintain, I must admit. Especially when all your friends get kids too. GG, it's over. Chill Stream wants to hit the hottest Dune topic, given PvE is PvP zones. Yeah, so Dune Awakening, for those of you who, follow the game, you'll know that there's been a little bit of contention with the end game, with PvP and stuff, and with the deep desert. So it's been about 2 weeks now, right? It's been about 2 weeks since it's been quite a bit over 2 weeks. Nearly 3 weeks, actually. Head start, we got it on the 5th of June. It's now the 23rd. God, it's gone quick. Yeah, and if you played it, you know that there's like some issues with the end game and PvP and things. And the devs have basically been gathering the feedback and looking at the feedback and seeing the general consensus of the game, I believe. And Joel Bylos, the creative director, has come out with he's come out with an update addressing some of the community's main concerns. Although it's a little bit controversial, I believe, because from what I understand, it's come down to the same goddamn argument and discussion, which I can't believe. I thought I was getting away from this with Star Citizen, but it's come down to the same discussion of PvE players wanting complete impunity from PvP players. And I really thought I was gonna get away from that with Dune Awakening. Like this would be my escape, my salvation. You know why? Because they literally talked about the endgame being nothing but PvP since the beginning. Right? Like, majority of the endgame that you are striving for in Dune Awakening is supposed to be about the conflict between Harkonnens and the Atreides. That's literally Dune in a nutshell. And suddenly, people have been putting lots of hours and time into the game, and suddenly they got to the end game, and they're like, wait a minute! What's all this PvP stuff? This isn't what I signed up for. And now they're angry or disappointed or leaving the game, right? So Joel's put out a statement or an announcement with their plans for the future of the game. And I haven't read this at all yet, so I'm going to be going through this on stream with you guys. And yeah, we'll just discuss it, I guess. Talk about it. That's crazy, GT. Yeah, you need to say hi to your family and feed your dog. PvPers are absolutely disgusting in Dune. People hunt you down for no gain and call the worm to delete your thopter for nothing. Hasn't happened to me, but I've seen it a ton. That is just PvP, in my opinion. I don't want to state my case too strongly just yet before I get a little bit further into this update, but that's where I sort of stand at the moment, is, at least initially, where were you when they were discussing the game's endgame for the last 2+ years? You know? Because they've never mentioned that. They basically always said that the endgame would revolve heavily around PvP and combined arms. Well, you can't have combined arms against the AI. Anyway, we're going to take a look at the update now. Hey, Mickey, what's up? Sup, G? Should I get Star Citizen or Dune Awakening? Two very different games, Mickey. If you're looking for a game that really pushes the boundaries of game development and really is pushing the envelope in terms of what's possible in video games, but it's a very buggy, and it's not a complete game that you can sink your teeth into, and it's alpha-y, but it's super cool. There's nothing else like it. Star Citizen, if you want a complete game where you're going to get a guaranteed X amount of hours out of it, and it's a proven genre/formula, it is a survival/MMO game set in the Dune universe, then get Dune Awakening. Black Shield says it's the same participation trophy having entitled space bobs that go from game to game wanting zero risk and all the rewards for no effort, so they want PvP removed. This is what I'm hearing, Black Shields. It's honestly Funcom's fault as well for putting so little PvP in the early game. Yes, I did think that was a bit of a mistake from Funcom. There is nothing to prepare players for the deep desert yet, right? So it is on them to some degree. There is nothing that introduces the player to PvP at all in the first potentially 100 hours. Anyway, let's take a look here. Is this music distracting? Okay, let's go. Yeah. Something a little bit more slower. Yeah, whatever, that'll do. Hello, sleepers! I wanted to write something that acknowledges and addresses the comments around the endgame of Dune Awakening, while also providing context for what we are attempting. So let me start by stating this unequivocally. We want PvE players to be able to play the endgame and have access to the content of the endgame. Our goal is not to force PvE players to interact with a PvP system that they may have no interest in. Yeah, okay. Our goal is not to force PvE players to interact with the PvP system that they have no interest in. No endgame plan survives first contact with the players. Mark Twain, probably. Oh no! This already sounds like they are they're already strongly deviating from the game's original vision here at this point. And I don't want to say anything like "I told you so" or anything, but in every time I've talked about Dune Awakening, every time I've mentioned the game, I've mentioned it strongly in my review. Wait to see how the end game pans out. First week or two, we are going to find out where Funcom's endgame stands with the Deep Desert and with Dune Awakening, and where the community stands with it. We're going to start, we will see cracks form, and this is completely expected. I totally expected all of this. I've expected this the whole time. I only have 69 hours in the game, so I'm just getting to the Deep Desert now. I haven't rushed and sort of no-lifed it, but the whole time I've been enjoying the game a lot. I've had it in the back of my mind. I'm going to let everyone get to the end game and get to the PvP and the Deep Desert, and I'm going to let them slowly reveal the cracks and kind of stand back and assess the damage when it comes. And I think we're at that point right now, which was to be completely expected. Every MMO, every game like this, survival game, gamers will destroy it and eat up the content within a week or 2 weeks. And at that point, the developers always have to step back and reassess, and so do the players. And usually get a mass exodus of players as well. A lot of players will leave, and then they'll wait for an update before they come back. The hardcore players will stay around. They'll stick it out. And this is what makes or breaks an MMO. This is when the developers either turn it around very quickly, or they turn it around in a month or two and bring majority of the people who left back, or at least a healthy number of the people who left back, or they don't. And then they're basically like developing on the back foot for like however long, however much longer the game goes on for. So we still believe in the core concept of the Deep Desert, an endlessly renewing location that resets every week and creates an activity loop for great rewards. The tension of heading out there, head on a swivel, eyes peeled for foes as you enter the most dangerous part of the most dangerous planet in the universe. Yeah, no shit. Our wish was that players would embrace this loop, forming guilds to work together to overcome the bleakness of the Deep Desert. Yeah, it was my wish too. That's what I was hoping for. But as Stephen King says, wish in one hand, shit in the other, see which one fills up first. One of my hands is overflowing right now, and sadly not with wishes. Bloody hell. This sounds like a total, it must look... I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't think it was this bad. This is... They must have more data. They obviously have more data than we do. They must be seeing stuff that we're not seeing here. Some areas of the Deep Desert will now be flagged as partial warfare. PvE, while the deepest parts of the Deep Desert will remain as they currently are. High reward, high risk areas. Okay. So they're going to be sectioning off, partitioning it. It's also funny because the biggest problem with the Landsraad right now is that's PvE focused. I know, this is what I was getting. This is what I was hearing. Lou Goblin, how's it going? Of course, the majority of the player base is strongly PvE, only with no interest in PvP. Companies will go where the majority of the money will be. If PvE players want rant to others how it's not a good PvE game, then new players will avoid it. But it is a good PvE game. There's literally 100 solid hours of PvE. But didn't people realize why they were PvEing in the game? It's to get to the PvP, to the end game was always the destination. Everything you're doing is to build up to the Deep Desert. I knew that from day one. That was why I was looking forward to the game. This is what I don't get. That's what I don't understand. What did people think they were playing for? They knew there were no, big dungeons and raids. They knew, the focus on the end game, initially at least, would be some form of emergent gameplay between guilds and factions. So many people who comment about things they've seen in a video, like losing everything in PvP. You simply don't detox their issues, but they are all fixable. Many people are making mountains out of molehills. Yeah, I thought all the issues were pretty fixable. And I'm willing to go with, whatever works, ultimately. I might be a little bit disappointed in what they plan in this update here, but ultimately, yeah, all games live and die by their casual player base. But I thought the idea was to cater to the casual player base, the PvEs, is that they can still contribute to the Landsrad via all the PvE contributions you can make to the game, you know? To flip houses, which we're already seeing. Anyway, the reality is that players are reporting being cut out of the endgame due to the extremely competitive nature of the Deep Desert. Yep, starting soon, some areas of the Deep Desert will now be flagged as pastoral warfare. Areas where players will be able to explore testing stations and harvest Tier 6 resources without the threat of conflict they may not want. Okay. So they can get the Tier 6 resources that will allow them to do what? What are they getting the Tier 6 resources for? Isn't part at this point you're getting the best resources in order to have a better chance, be more competitive against other guilds and other people in the opposite factions? Isn't that the point? Like, I thought that was the point of getting the latest, the highest resources. Now, if Funcom adds new dungeons, raids, actual new PvE content, then great. That's a great way for PvE exclusive players. We call them PvE maxis. Right? It's a great way for them to then get that armor they need to hit the PvE content. But there is nothing that says that that's coming at this point. Hey, Alex. It's crazy to me that considering this is the end game, the part that will keep most players hooked, they never dedicated any of their tests to the Deep Desert specifically. Focusing on Haga Basin on the later tests when it was mainly for stability might have been the wrong choice when we see all the issues people are having with Deep Desert. Maybe they would have had the data they needed sooner. Yeah, I definitely think they focused on testing the Deep Desert too late. And everybody who I spoke to in the closed beta already brought up a lot of these problems about the Deep Desert and PvP during the closed beta, but they didn't have enough time to implement all this. And I said to everybody, while I've been following this game for 2 years and watching the latest stuff that dropped before it came out, I've been saying to everybody, the Deep Desert is, it really depends how much I'm going to play this, really depends on what the Deep Desert is like and what the PvP is like. And I'm not even there yet. I'm just getting to the Deep Desert, but I've seen lots of content from it. I know from talking to you guys who have been there a ton already in my guild and stuff. You know, I know what it's like. I've been watching streams and stuff. And I just know what this game is about. I understand the concept of this game. I've been following it for a while now closely, right? I get it. Which is why I was worried in the early days that they hadn't really tested the endgame enough. They hadn't tested the Deep Desert enough, especially with higher pop numbers. Sid. Yeah. I think Ko had the right idea. Make Tier 6 materials accessible to PvE peeps, but put blueprints in PvP hot zones near exclusively. The problem I have with this idea, because I watched Ko's rant, and I didn't like a lot of what he was saying, really. I didn't agree with a lot of what he was saying. The problem with this idea of segmenting the Deep Desert is you're screwing over the PvP players as well, because you're reducing the amount of content for PvP players in the Deep Desert the minute you section off parts of the Deep Desert for PvE players, because you're now limiting the amount of potential players you're ever going to encounter in the PvP areas, which is where the content is. It's player interaction. It's conflict between guilds and factions. That's what drives the content. It's already quite quiet in the Deep Desert, from what I understand. If they're then partitioning the Deep Desert for PvE players as well, out of the 300 players you can ever run into in the Deep Desert, that's potentially limited to even less now. Overall, because there'll be a whole section dedicated to people who are PvEing, and that section's going to be filled up more. It's going to be taking up more player space than the PvP section. So, you know, you're diluting the PvP experience and giving the PvE players a relatively meaningless experience as well. Unless we assume the PvE players going into the deep desert are doing it to benefit the people who do PvP in their guild and in their faction. You know, what are they doing? Are they going in there to get the tier 6 materials for their guildies who go and who aren't scared of PvP? Is that what the point of the PvE section is? Nova, it's ridiculous that we're having this argument in Dune Awakening now as well. I thought I was going to be able to get a break from all that noise with Dune Awakening, but it's the same argument as we're getting with Star Citizen. It's not. I don't think it's screwing them. It's concentrating them, literally giving them what they want in counters. I guess you could look at it that way, glass half full Robble approach. I guess I'm looking at it as a glass half empty, but yeah, I guess that also does mean the PvP players would be pushed together more. There is still overall less players though. And it's always the more the better when it comes to PvP. It's important to note that the top tier of the game is balanced around guilds and groups, so people will still find it grindy if they play solo. Lands are at control points, shipwrecks. Shipwrecks are the largest spice fields within the region of the Deep Desert will remain War of Assassins PvP flagged. The largest spice fields. Okay, so you can still get spice in there. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. The deepest parts of the Deep Desert will remain as they currently are, high reward, high risk areas. The beauty of the Deep Desert design with weekly resets and renewals is that we can iterate and experiment with different layouts and setups to really help us tune it. As we make changes, we'll send out surveys to help us capture your thoughts. Yeah, I think this is the good way to do it. And again, I've said this from the beginning, this is the strength of Dune Awakening's system. This is the strength of the way they've built their game, and one of the reasons I'm well behind it is because the Overland map is great for adding content for everyone. I know people don't understand it, or some people don't get the point of it, but that is the point of it. It's so they can iterate and add content in isolation and give people ways to, visit it and do what they want in the game eventually. Also with the server meshing, obviously, in the Coriolis Storm, like he says here, with the weekly wipes and resets, this is great for the game and for them to balance and iterate on it. So that's a good way for them to approach this. It's going to be a good while till they get a formula that works really well. But again, it goes back to Addix's point of why they didn't test enough of this deep desert stuff early on with enough testers. I wonder if it's a similar situation to Star Citizen where they just didn't have enough people to test it. Maybe they didn't have enough sweaty PvPers in the closed beta to do it. They're just getting large-scale feedback. I don't think... It's almost like Funcom didn't expect this game to be as popular as it is among PvE players. And it's blown up with PvE players, and they're like, oh my god, we actually have a giant PvE audience in our game that we've literally told everyone since day one that endgame is PvP. And now they have this massive PvE audience, and they're like, oh shit, we're on the money here. We need to retain this massive PvE audience. I don't know. I'm just spitting bullshit here, but maybe that's what's happened here. I'm not sure if it's an unpopular opinion, but disable the functionality where you can store the scout top. Oh, that is 100% a good thing, and what should happen, Valhalix? Yeah, there should be a cooldown. I'm completely confused why there wasn't a combat timer on your Ornithopter before you could store it. Crazy that there isn't. That would work just fine. Means players would actually have to get well out of range and reduce enough damage before they can, store it. PvE itself has plenty of issues that need to be addressed. We're taking steps in that direction with our first changes to Scout Ornithopters. Yeah. PvP itself has plenty of issues. Yeah. We're taking steps in the direction with our first changes to Scout. As Vijar stated in the AMA, these should be implemented in the game shortly. Scout Ornithopters with rocket launchers attached will have their speed maneuverability reduced. So I'm just about to build my Mark V Ornithopter. Should I save for an assault? Should I just go with an assault instead at this rate? This may have just saved me a ton of Duralinium. I don't know, Carl. It's crazy, man. But, you know, unfortunately, not unfortunately, MMOs like this, they live and die off their PvE slash casual audience. They're not necessarily casual, but Funcom absolutely needs to cater to them. But in my opinion, don't screw the people over who enjoy the vision of the game and understand the vision of the game, the end game, at the same time. So I don't know what they're doing yet. I haven't read through this whole thing yet. Yeah, I get that, Patrick. Yeah, assault thopters are larger and slower. Yeah, it's going to be larger, slower, but the scout ornithopter's strength was that I could engage and disengage with rocket launchers at will, right? If I can't do that with rocket launchers, if I'm going to go in with anything with combat capabilities, maybe now it would just be worth to go in with the assault. Yeah, scout with boosters is the way. Yeah. Do Mark 5 wings and engine for your Mark 4 scout. Maybe. Yeah, there isn't a huge difference with the armor, right? Hey, Mavoris, how's it going? Yeah, so rockets fired from ornithopters will have increased heat generation. Sorry, guys, I realize this isn't very zoomed in for you. Apologies. Ah, shit. Is it still not very zoomed in? Rockets fired from scout ornithopters will have increased heat generation. Thrusters will provide a max speed bonus regardless of wings, ensuring that thruster-equipped scouts will be the fastest vehicles in the game. Okay. Okay, new Tier 5 infantry rocket launcher will be added to help improve the dynamic of vehicle ground combat. Yeah, again, I cannot believe I'm seeing the same problems in Dune Awakening as I've been experiencing in Star Citizen forever. The parity between, well, the disparity between vehicle air power and ground power. I can't believe in my Dune game, air power is still superior in every way. So hopefully, yeah, these are starting measures for them to improve that situation. Yeah, basically, Piggy. Yep, dude. Toxicity of the community is a bigger problem than the PvP itself, in my honest opinion. Unfortunately, that's just people on the internet. It's not the community. It's just people in gaming and people in multiplayer games. It's nothing new. It's been that way since day one. Unless you're referring to something else. Okay, Van. Yeah, I'm not doing great today, Mavoris. It's a bit of a short one. Pretty rough weekend, but other than that, I'm all good, my friend. I'm glad you're doing well. I think the only game that got air power mostly right is PlanetSide 2. I literally said this on Discord, like, why doesn't anyone learn anything from PlanetSide? Never understand it. No one, like, especially Dune Awakening, it's very similar in its arcadey combat and PvP. Right, Zoab? That's insane. There are additional changes to mechanics like respawn timers, vehicle storage tools, hand scanners, and other mechanics that we see being abused in the Deep Desert. The intended dynamic of Deep Desert PvP in Dune Awakening is that, unless you really mess up, you always have the option to retreat in good order with whatever you've managed to claim so far. If you're smart and vigilant, you never have to fight if you don't want to. If you run, you'll have to call a halt to whatever task you're pursuing, but that should always be a choice. PvP should happen when both parties decide they want to fight over a location. Yeah, over an objective. If there's an objective, it's the same with Star Citizen, right? You can always run away, but if you're fighting over an objective, you know, you have a choice. Do you stay and die, or do you stay and fight, or do you run? Will we see a troop carrier chopper in Dune? There is a multi-seat one, Night Kai. The Deep Desert becomes a place where people battle it out over specific objectives, unburied testing stations, and shipwrecks, resource-focused islands, and of course, spice blows. Yeah. Just back to this, though. I guess, I don't know, it doesn't sound like, unless you really mess up, you always have the option to retreat in good order with whatever you manage to claim. If you're smart and vigilant, you never have to fight if you don't want to. If you run, you'll have to call a halt to whatever. Okay. Doesn't really hint at what they're going to be doing with this then. Vehicle storage tools, for example, right? But we'll see. Fool, yeah. I think I'm done with Dune since they are clearly catering to Bobs and PvE. I don't want to play a PvE game or a single player game. Not hard, not fun. I don't know. Let's see. Let's keep going. Finally, the intended dynamic has always been combined arms. We have infantry and ground vehicles and air vehicles, and they're all supposed to have clear roles, clear strengths, and clear counters. Yeah, that was like one of the main things I was interested in with the game. And getting to the end game is that there would be combined arms. I haven't seen anyone use a buggy in PvP yet. Barely bikes. Opters will always be incredibly important for crossing the desert, but they shouldn't also be the dominant force in actual battles. I'm planning to make more changes to the deep desert to accommodate ground battles and reinforce the use of player builds. Again, it needs to be same problems we have in Star Citizen, you know. A ground anti-air vehicle should be a threat to anything in the air. It should project power around it in the area that you have managed to logistically transport a ground vehicle to. You should be rewarded for the effort that you've put in to get a ground vehicle on site, and not just everybody one-manning flying their ornithopters. Not to mention a buggy is going to require 2 people to be effective, right? You're going to have, that's 2 manpower you're dedicating to a single vehicle. It should be fulfilling its purpose to deal with ornithopters, air vehicles. It should be powerful. And ornithopters should be so fragile, really, in comparison. They're freaking, you know, helicopters, basically. Yes, they are, Pedro. Yeah, they are. The homing launcher, it looks absolutely beast and will get everyone in the area to the ground, but it's not in the loot rotation on our server yet. Why not, Hest? Is that something new? You should have to infiltrate via the ground on foot or via vehicle to take out another buggy. Exactly. And that's the rock, paper, scissors that it creates. If there's a anti-air vehicle on the ground that is too powerful for you to deal with in the air, or at least isn't manpower efficient for you to deal with using ornithopters, you then have to get a guy on the ground to deal with it. So you either bring your own buggies, or you bring infantry that you drop with ornithopters or drop with buggies, and suddenly you actually have some real combined arms going on because you use them to go in to get rid of the anti-air vehicle on the ground. Then you can call in the air and the air can do their job. I thought we would be there, or like at least be close to that from day one, but I guess we're not. Oh, there's different loot in DD every week. Oh, I thought you meant like they've revealed a weapon that hasn't been put into the game yet, Hest. We agree that if you don't use an air transport for your buggy, you'll die in the deep desert. Oh yeah, you'd have to use a carrier to get your buggy on into position. And that's what I'm saying, like, it should be worth doing that. It should be worth you using a whole carriole, a pilot in the carriole, 2 pilots in the buggy, taking them all the way to a site like a spice blow or something, for you to then lock it down with ground vehicles. Like, the ground vehicles should be tanky, they should not be easily destroyed by ornithopters, and it should prompt a response from your opponent to come in and deal with it with something that isn't air-based. You could have a base and build the parts of the buggy. Yeah, that too, GT. They really should have done an endgame test in the beta where they just gave everyone endgame tech. I think they did. I think they did in some situations, Roscoe, during the closed beta. Sounds like Dune has the same problem as Star Citizen when it comes to PvP. Why would you use anything on the ground when you have flying turrets? I know. I can't believe I got into Dune Awakening because I figured Funcom would have their shit together over all this stuff, and I'm having the same discussions in Dune Awakening as I am in Star Citizen. It's crazy. And just, you know, to be clear, I'm still well on board with this game. It's not like I'm quitting or anything. Sorry to disappoint, you know, my Star Citizen maxis. I still think the game has a ton of potential, and I think everything it has wrong with it is totally fixable. There is nothing wrong with the fundamentals of... Well, maybe not the fundamentals, but there's nothing wrong with the foundation of Dune Awakening. They can fix everything, as long as they don't fix the wrong things. Yeah, I didn't do enough, Roscoe, yeah. Hey, Bart, how's it going, dude? Did you spoil the beans on that elusive Kickstarter yet? No, but you probably already know which one it is, Bart. It was quite popular a couple of weeks ago. Hey, McD, how's it going, man? Let's talk briefly about the Landsrad. As a system, it is an activity driver that is designed to promote the conflict between the factions, internal politics between the guilds, while providing goal thresholds for individuals and groups to work towards getting personal rewards. And the Landsrad should be doing that for everyone who wants to participate in the older game, be they PvEer or PvPer. The Landsrad should be giving you things to do every day and every week. Yeah, and like, the discussions we've been having about this... Hey, Schleich, what's up, man? Discussions we've been having about this is that straight away, the Landsrad rewards suck. It's like you're constantly being forced to pick from a bad bunch. Like, why would I pick, like... And then the ones that you do really want, anybody with any like common sense realizes the better choice doesn't get picked for some reason. So like, first of all, like I really believe the Landsrad should be faction specific rewards, and they should be I feel like they need to be faction specific. And they should basically just be maybe less powerful than what they're proposing to make that faction-specific change less brutal for players. Less brutal for the opposite faction. Sorry. And I think the way they should do it is that you should have faction-specific Landsrad rewards. And in order to combat like one faction steamrolling, every time the same faction successively or consecutively wins the Landsrad, the rewards lose like X percentage of their potency. So you can't get to this position where like one faction is constantly snowballing. Make it so that like make the Landsrad rewards faction specific, and then every time they win successively, like, make the reward a X percentage weaker, so that basically by near the end of it, they're almost like, you know, almost losing by default, I guess, or just getting a very minimal reward for it, giving the other faction a little bit more of a chance to pull back or something, you know? I mean, again, I look at, like, PlanetSide. How does PlanetSide deal with its faction imbalances? They have a whole freaking PvE army that comes in and sort of like helps buffer another side, or adds another faction to the battles going on in between the other major factions in the game. They could do that with Sardaukar. They could do something like that with Sardaukar. Like, if one faction's becoming too powerful, they can have some sort of Sardaukar raids or something that hit the deep desert and attack the more powerful faction. I don't know. I haven't actually Nova, but I do have Squad now. That's up and able. It's not true. It's not true. The entire industry isn't shit. Hey, Nick, what's up, man? Also, there's no faction balance. A whole server can go Atreides or Harkonnen and lock the other faction out of everything. What, as in lock them out of the deep desert, Nick? It doesn't work. Look at DAOC. Giving Realm faction bonuses and reductions didn't fix the problem. What are you suggesting, Pettigrew? It's really hard to incentivize people to care about the Landsrad when you're just giving the same reward to everybody all the time, and the rewards aren't even that really impactful. One thing they said they were doing was making it easier for the losers of the last Landsrat to win, but they haven't made it obvious in-game that it's active. However, our server is heavily Atreides, and they won easy last week, and we rolled them this week. Interesting. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Those are my ideas, opinions at the moment, you know. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like you could do something with the Sardaukar. They already said that in the beginning when this game was being developed. They said in order to help balance, they were thinking about using like the Sardaukar to kind of come in and bring a little bit more balance back between the factional warfare. But I haven't seen any evidence of that yet. Hey Bono, how's it going, man? This 3-week-old game seems like it's under a lot of pressure. Every 3-week-old game is under a lot of pressure. Unable. This is totally normal. It's totally normal. Totally normal for this to happen with a new game. There's always this honeymoon period for everybody. 1-2 weeks. The gamers eat all the content up. They get to the end game. They hit a wall. They hit that wall that is always there with every game like this. In fact, we hit the wall later than I thought we would with Dune Awakening. Well, people hit the wall later than... I haven't hit the wall personally, but some people hit the wall sooner than I thought they would. I guess, with Dune Awakening. It took them longer, sorry, than I thought they would. Which is a good sign. But there's always this period of everybody takes a step back and assesses the game again, including the developers. And that's the point when it's make or break. Yeah, so reinforce the use of player builds. As a system, it is an activity driver. The Landsrat should be doing that for everyone who wants to participate in the Elder game, be they PvEer or PvPer. The Landsrat should be giving you things to do every day and every week. It's nothing new from a design perspective. We've seen daily, weekly quest systems in games for a long time. Our approach was to try and frame this system around the greater politics of the Dune universe by having players engage in activities to earn the votes of the various Landsrat houses, which I think is amazing. I think this whole idea was brilliant. And I've, again, been following the game for 2 years, 3 years, was always well behind this idea of the endgame. It makes perfect sense, and it's a great idea for an endgame. Let me acknowledge that as an activity driver, the activities it asks you to participate in are simplistic, a lot of item hand-ins and crafting requests. That's because the system is in the earliest launchable iteration. The activities that the Landsrat asks you to do will become more varied as we flesh out the world with more content and activities. The Landsrat is an umbrella for all endgame activities. What form do those endgame activities take? More dungeons with bosses that drop endgame loot, more contracts that require specific tasks to be undertaken, more specialized delivery tasks that include components that cannot be stockpiled. If we ever add raids to the game, there will be a task on the Landsrat to complete those raids. It is a framework that holds the endgame activities in place. And again, I think it's a great idea. Oh, really, McD? Yeah, me neither, dude. I've just got to the deep desert myself. I saw the wall coming before launch. I see the same issue with PvP and PvE in every sandbox to a degree. I know, Rob. Like, what's the bloody solution? Yeah, I'm not either, Mavaris. I'm not worried about... this isn't the end of the game. It might be the end of the game for certain groups of people. But they're definitely at the end of the game. I hope it isn't. It'd be ridiculous if it is. When we used to get games in boxes and no one could talk shit online about it, people just used to play games and enjoy or refund them. That was the end of it. Yeah. But now games are a service. It's changed now, GT. Games are a service. They want you actively participating in their service for as long as possible. So it's not just the gamers that change this. This is the developers as well. We'll keep adding endgame activities and more PvE content to the game going forward, but both free and paid content in the form of DLCs and expansions. We're addressing some key flaws in the Landsrat design, the inability to hand in items after a square is completed, and the rapidity at which some squares are turned in. Yeah, I know that you guys have been saying that's a big problem. You know, as soon as the Landsrat terms change and the boxes are handed in right away. Hey, Tool, how's it going, man? this happens in every game isn't really a valid excuse to be okay with this. If you notice while reading this post, they are telling you how to play the game. If they knew how players should play the game, why isn't it built this way already? Because all the time, this happens with developers all the time. It's give the rats the maze and see how they navigate the maze. And if their maze doesn't pan out the way they originally envisioned, they hit the drawing board again. This is just MMOs, online multiplayer service games in a nutshell. Yeah, Nick, right. The solution is to give people options that remove PvP while not restricting their access to content. It's really not that complicated, but people act like children over it. Because that usually involves diluting the PvP experience for the PvP players, Patrick. At this point, is it PvE and PvP servers we're going to need?
Why is the game? When the game gets game, so the community games the game. And game until the game.
Thank you, Online. It's a good question. We'll answer that later, I think. Hope you're well, man. Thank you for that. Hey, Harry Loft. How you doing, man? Good day to you. We're addressing some key flaws in Lands Red design. Stockpiling is currently rewarded, but that is not our intention for this system, and we will make some changes to address it as best we can. I mean, how do you address this? How do you address this? How do you stop people stockpiling and then insta-handing in those quests? Yeah, exactly, Nick. That's the big problem with it. And this is actually, by the way, this is the PvE part, right? A lot of the time. One day there'll be a perfect game release. No such thing, Pedro. No such thing. Yeah, I don't really know how you can combat this unless you introduce, like, a rotating resource that is time limited to the deep desert. Like, you introduce, like, every Coriolis Storm comes through, some new time limited resource nodes are deposited on the map, or a different type of spice that doesn't keep, like, you can't keep it in silos, right? It degrades over time. Yeah, something like that. I'm chill about it, happy to see where it goes. Too many people are doom and gloom immediately and say it's a flop and don't give it a chance. I'm happy for those types to not play the game as same games as me. Definitely, yeah. I mean, definitely people will be claiming the sky's falling. They've been claiming the sky's falling with Star Citizen for the last 12 years, you know. It's nothing we're not used to. So the stockpiling is because of the same resources being looped. They need to make it... Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, why don't you make it some sort of time-limited resource? You know, like in Star Citizen, again, there are resources that degrade or self-destruct after a certain amount of time. You could just introduce some special spice, maybe, that can only be kept for a few days, you know, or a week or whatever. And then you just never have that same resource on a consecutive week rotation. You just make sure they're spread out so that people can't stockpile stuff. Because no matter what they do, as long as it's a resource that's in-game and storable, people always have stockpiles of it. Nice, Nick. You're 150 hours in. 150 hours in and just prepping to go to the Deep Desert first solo. Good for you, dude. That's pretty good. You must have completed everything else. I am at 69, basically 70 hours, and I'm also just about to hit the Deep Desert. But I have been following my guild who've been in Deep Desert a while now. No, Modify. Lands Red rewards are supposed to reflect the endgame tiers of progression. This includes the vendors, which can be unlocked for an entire faction through participation. Wait, so the vendors one is... all right, so the vendor one is one of the faction-specific bonuses, which, you know, we haven't had that yet, have we? So I figure we didn't really know for sure, or at least I hadn't looked into it since we had that talk about it. But that's good. This is the intention. Once again, let me acknowledge that this isn't exactly in the right place. The lands will be updated to provide micro rewards for solo, small group players. Yeah, we haven't had vendors as an option yet on our server. Oh, really, Nick? Nice. Spice in the deep desert only and cannot be removed or you'll be flagged as a smuggler? What happens if you get flagged as a smuggler? Oh, Hest. No, that sucks. That's an interesting idea, but spice is part of a lot of recipes outside of the deep desert, I think.
Dune. Venid item to have value de grade of the time, give me sorry of this. Game, you will make THS game but of shown me armchair. As it was sipping, lisan al sipin.
Is that Dark Eagle? Sweet Eagle, is that you? Thank you, online. Hey, Echo, how are you doing, my friend? Good to see you. I don't see how it's diluting PvP content to give PvE players their own spaces. Most PvEs I see online say they'll never go to Deep Desert anyway, and will therefore already never contribute to PvP experiences. That's not what we're seeing here, Patrick. Most PvEs are saying they want to go to the Deep Desert, but they feel like they can't. Because the big bad PvPers are there. And so what I mean by that it dilutes the experience for the PvP is it makes it easier for the people who don't want to take part in the PvP to get the same rewards that the PvP players are playing for. Is what I'm saying. That's how it can dilute the experience for the PvP players, because it basically makes it less risk, high reward, where PvP is high risk, high reward. Yeah, the lands will be updated to provide micro rewards for solo/small group players. That's a win-win. Like, there's no problem with that. Thanks for listening, everyone. Apologies for the confusion. Once a live game launches, it becomes a collaborative effort between the developers and the players to make it something amazing. We appreciate your feedback on what we hope is the beginning of a long journey together. Bear with us. Our intention is to be clear and open in our communications and to make Dune Awakening a game that everybody can enjoy. I hope this helps. Well, they didn't really... they really didn't address much specifically apart from... Where is it? This bit. This is the only sort of development they're making at the moment. Starting soon, some areas of the Deep Desert will now be flagged as partial warfare PvE areas where players will be able to explore testing stations and harvest Tier 6 resources without the threat of conflict they may not want. Yeah, that's basically the main thing they're sort of doing for now, addressing. And you can look at that two ways. You know, like, you can look at the glass half full way in that it pushes the PvP players closer together while giving the PvE players something, or it ultimately creates less, potentially creates less instances of interactions between members of the other faction and or other guilds, because now that you're petitioning the Deep Desert even further, and it's already petitioned into 81 segments, right? 300 players across 81 segments, 9 times whatever the size of the Haga Basin is. 300 players across all those segments. You can only ever see 100 players at once anyway. But it may reduce the amount of people you'll be potentially running into and PvPing with. So it could reduce PvP altogether overall, or it could just push everybody closer together, which means the existing PvP players will see more action, possibly. Yeah, Crown, what's up, man? I posted the base rating video, and it was quickly shown that base rating is not a mechanic which robs more from the PvPers. Yeah, that's a weird discussion going on in our Discord about that. I always thought base raiding was a fact in the game. I thought it was, if you build a base in the deep desert, you can be base raided. Now, now Funcom's saying that that's not their intention. I'm confused personally. I don't get, like, they're saying that base raiding is not supposed to be a part of the game. I thought it always was in the deep desert where it's full PvP. Obviously outside of the PvE strip. Yeah, have you gone to the deep desert much online? Why do every gaming community separate PvP and PvE? Do you know how many times I've played a game with PvE only and other players find a way to combat other players? Whether it be blocking spawns with indestructible walls or stealing resource nodes by building on top of them, PvE does not work. Yeah, you're not wrong. There's always competition, levels of competition between players. That is why, that is just social, that's just society. You know? That is, you put humans together in any society, in real life or online, there is an element of competition no matter whether you can smash somebody's head in or not. The pool's closed, unable. Yeah, I thought so too. If shields go down, it's vulnerable. Yeah, I thought that was always the damn point. Yeah, I'm confused. I mean, they haven't really said a huge amount. They haven't really said a huge amount here. Some good, you know, I think this is good. This is good with regarding the balance changes needed for PvP. Ground assets, just like SC, need to be more powerful and need to project some sort of power over flimsy propeller, not propeller. Oh, propeller? What are they called? I know they're called wings, but they're basically like propeller wings, right? What do you call them on ornithopters? Those are fragile. Those things should be bloody fragile. Like a ground, I'm not saying you should be, you know, easy to kill, but a ground buggy with rocket launchers on it should be a big threat. You get a short window after the storm. Yeah, you get a short window after Coriolis storm to damage people's bases, but Funcom are saying that that isn't really their vision. That isn't their intention for you to go and raid other people's bases, but people very much are. And players will always find a way. People are destroying whole people's bases within, you know, the time frame of the shields going down. Hey, Clawhammer. Wings. Yeah, but wings, they're not like traditional wings. I guess they are. They're just lots of small ones that move up and down. So yeah, I mean, they haven't really given us too much to go off here just yet, from what I can tell, reading into this. And it sounds like it's going to be a little while until you definitely see any of these changes, apart from the mechanical changes to ornithopters and stuff. You know, the stat changes to thrusters and whatnot. That sort of stuff's probably going to come in quite quick. But overall, like, in my opinion, this game, I feel like I'm going mad, but I swear this game, since day one, they talked about, you know, the end game being the deep desert and the faction conflict between Harkonnen, Atreides, the third faction eventually, and supremacy over the Landsrad. This has all come around because there's been a giant uproar from thousands of players who've been enjoying Dune Awakening's PvE element happily for hundreds of hours, who are getting to the end game that they apparently did zero research about or had no idea what it entailed. They are now basically shocked to find that they have to enter unconsensual PvP in order to progress their game, in order to get better resources, in order to build better things. But like, that's always been the case. That's why there's a PvE strip when you enter the deep desert, to keep you safe before you enter that unconsensual PvP zone. And now Funcom's like captured a really big PvE audience. I feel like they were building a PvE game, but accidentally made a really good PvE game as well. And they've captured a massive PvE audience, and now they are, you know, They're going to be trying to hold on to them, and there's nothing wrong with that. The game needs it. The game's doing really well. The game's very successful. They're onto something really good with the game, and I want both players to be happy. But I don't want to see Dune Awakening and Funcom compromise that vision of letting me live that fantasy of fighting the Atreides or fighting the Arconan over competitive levels of spice and dodging worms and combined arms warfare. I don't want that part of the game to suffer because of it. Like, if you take away the high risk, high reward, people aren't going to PvP. People just aren't going to do it. There has to be something in it for PvP players, because it's a lot more taxing and a lot more competitive and a lot more involved than PvE gameplay. If you're not making it worthwhile for the people who are playing together in guilds and are looking forward to that part of the game of, playing for the end game and fighting other factions, then they just won't play, and you're going to end up again with this situation. And here's the problem with PvE exclusive games, and this is probably why Funcom initially made the Deep Desert the way it is. PvE players, and this isn't in a bad way. We're all PvE players, ultimately as well, right? But PvE players are like locusts. They consume content faster than the devs can produce it. And the minute you end up with a game that's purely focused on PvE players, you, as the developer, are constantly on the back foot, racing to develop content to feed the hunger of the locust swarm that is eating through your content faster than you can push it out. And this is why developers now are creating sandbox elements of their PvE games, because the players create the content themselves. And that's why players like me and my guild and a lot of you guys probably were interested in Dune Awakening in the first place, because we create the content. It's the player conflict that creates the gameplay and the content. The devs don't have to micromanage it. They don't have to create, or they have to. The only micromanaging they have to do is the balancing and the tweaking of things here and there. But if the overall foundation of the sandbox is good enough, the players will create their own content for longer periods of time than a PvE crowd ever would. Before, the PvE crowd would just basically outpace them in consuming all their content. Exactly, Gloomgun. There's such a crossover. It's crazy. So what's going to happen is, if Funcom starts bending over backwards to cater primarily to a PvE audience, they're going to back themselves into a corner where they're having to pump out content super quick. And it's going to cost money, because this isn't a subscription-based model. It's buy to play. It's going to cost money to buy the updates as well. And they're going to end up with a situation like every other game, where you have these giant dips in player activity, new content comes out, giant peak, giant dip again, and they're basically going to enter that kind of cadence. In my opinion, it's better to have a peak with new content and then a steady, healthy player base that's doing their thing, playing together, creating their own gameplay content and conflict using the features that are already in the game, and then another peak when a new content drops, and so on and so forth. But I don't know. This is why I was interested in Dune Awakening, because I don't like playing games that I play for a week and then I put down, and I wait for the developer to spoon feed me the next element of content for me to go and play. I don't like those kind of games usually. I like there to be a social side to the game. I like there to be a multiplayer side. I like to interact with other players. I like to fight other players. I like the stories and the memories you build that primarily stem from PvP. Player-to-player content, So I just don't want to see that get... I don't see that get heavily diluted. Hopefully it won't. Hopefully they can appeal to both players, but PvE players are harder to please, in my opinion. They are more high maintenance, and maybe Funcom has the resources to do it. Jedi Menace, what's up, man? I don't get the mentality that all aspects of a game must be accessible to solo players. I don't either. Can you imagine playing World of Warcraft back in the day and writing a forum post in 2004 complaining that you can't go and solo Onyxia? Imagine! Like, what is happening to gamers? And I hate to, like, be a gamer that thinks, you know, was from a hardcore era, but you just accepted it. You're like, that's how games are supposed to be. Oh, yeah, this is a multiplayer game. And this is some multiplayer content for those multiple players to enjoy. You know? You didn't think, wait a minute. You're telling me I've got to join a guild, run multiple raids over spanning weeks of time, which is, by the way, content and things to do in your video game. It's giving you things to do. Build a social network, make friends on the internet who I can have great experiences with and build great memories with, build up a skill set with those players, allow my personal preference, skill, and playstyle to shine through and help my group achieve a greater objective together so that we can then go and do this, complete this really hard, rewarding piece of content in this video game as a team, as a group together. You're telling me that's how I got to play this multiplayer game? Fuck you. I should be able to log on at the end of the day for an hour and smash it out on my own. And then after that, I'm going to go on the forums and complain that there's nothing for me to do. You know, it's so weird. I hate to say it, but it's like gamers are just becoming so soft. Or, you know, it's gamers my age, but maybe not my age, because I feel like, you know, we're from the golden era of gaming. All that shit was a given back then. That was accepted. Like, you played games that way. I don't know if it's new gamers or it's older gamers who are just tired. And I totally get that. I'm a dad as well, you know, and a gamer, and I make content for a living, you know. I get it. But are people just old and tired and, like, just don't want to put up with that shit anymore? And if that's the case, don't play those games that are built that way anymore. Just play something else. Exactly, Jedi, yeah. I mean, you're saying what I just said. Now, I understand that things may be different in your life now and you don't got the time to do the group content. Guess what? That's okay. You'll have to find something else to do until you do. Yeah. I'm trying to think of some games that I don't play because I know that they would just be too demanding of me. And, you know, I play Star Citizen and Dune Awakening now. I make content for those games. I have an obligation to create content and play those games. So it leaves me less time to play other games. But, like, what are some games that I just don't... Like, I guess traditional MMOs I don't touch as much anymore because I know that the time that they demand. You know? Traditional MMOs I don't really touch anymore. Dune Awakening is the first one I've touched in a long time, probably since New World. And that's because it is not a traditional MMO. And because I knew the endgame was not built around the same endgame that traditional MMOs are built around, which require you to do all these phases and play all these things and get through all this particular content first before you can enjoy the next piece of content that they're going to feed you, you know? Dune Awakening's it's ultimately, you know, excuse the pun, it's a sandbox where it was always supposed to be at least a sandbox that encouraged the players to create the game, the content. I don't know. Shakes Kane at the dev post. Yeah. It's old people that are complaining. I promise you, no one that is my age is complaining about PvP, says Modify. I don't believe it, man. I think it's a bit of both. Back in my day when the enemy camped Iwo Jima in Battlefield 1942, we weren't sissies about it. We camped them right back. Oh, man. Good shit. Yeah, that's a good one, Metatron. Tarkov. Being a new gamer sucks because a lot of the gamers you play with have been doing it for a long time and have high expectations for new games. Definitely. Yeah. And we've also, yeah, that's it online. Like a lot of, I'm 36 now, or 36 this year. My era of gaming was, in my opinion, the best, the golden era. We still haven't seen another Star Wars Galaxies, we still haven't seen another Ultima Online. And I don't think we ever will because the gamers now just ain't up to it. And this proves it. This is proof. They just ain't up. They just don't sell anymore. Challenging games do not sell like they used to sell. And I think it's just because gaming is way more mainstream now. It's no longer such a niche activity. It's such big business that developers can't afford to do that anymore. They can't afford to take risks like that anymore. And then what happens is you get a man called Chris Roberts steps into the picture and he says, look, I'm going to save you. The publishers are scared to make the games that I want to make. But if you give me money personally, I'll make the game you've always dreamed of. And then we end up with Star Citizen. But guess what? Even Star Citizen, now that it's like further down the line, is running into the same problem because it's getting so big. It's getting bigger... Too big for its boots, almost, right? It's running into the same issue because it's becoming more mainstream. It's got a wider audience to appeal to. So now they are basically trying to appeal to as many people as they can with that game as well. And when a video game appeals to everyone, it appeals to no one. But I love the people who are like, hey, Dead Tide, how are you, man? I love the people who are like, oh, these indie devs are great. They build really cool individual games that are what they want to make and not for the masses. Then those same people go complain AAA games are not what they want. Yes. Yeah, dude, I'm almost 40. I don't have the energy or patience to deal with some sweaty grief and nuking hours of my work, but I like a social cooperative experience. Yeah, and again, for you guys in Dune Awakening, the whole point was that you can still take part in the end game, right? Is with the Lance Rad via fulfilling orders and things to flip houses, to flip the Lance Rad for your guild, who could also participate in the PvP side of the game. I originally thought that would be enough for the PvE players, but they want the deep desert as well. They want to be able to go into the deep desert without fear of being attacked, and that's ultimately what this comes down to. And sure, there's not a huge amount of content for people who exclusively want to PvE now, but Funcom can add that later, and that is why they've built the game the way they have, with server meshing and with the overland map. Maybe, Furcate, maybe. I've been playing cozy games. The peace I have in my life on Stardew Valley compared to the slog torture of 4,000 Tarkov hours is heaven, yeah. But at what cost, Crown? What cost? A man of your talents, Crown? A simple life? What you just said is right and so dumb. Go to the deep desert and not be attacked. Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately what it comes down to, is unfortunately. It's, they want to see the deep desert, they want to take part in the deep desert, but they don't like it when the other guy who's better than them shoots at them with their ornithopter. And that is unfortunately what it comes down to at the moment. So, I don't know. Their initial solution here by sectioning off a part of the deep desert for them is, we'll see how that works. Nothing I'm seeing here is doom and gloom at all. But it is... Funcom's got their work cut out for them to try and cater to both players from this point onwards. I think they got more PvE players enjoying their game than they expected. Maybe not. I don't know. But with comments like, our wish was that players would embrace this loop, forming guilds to work together to overcome the bleakness of the deep desert. But as Stephen King says, wish in one hand, shit in the other. See which one fills up first. One of my hands is overflowing right now, and sadly, not with wishes. That is pretty telling, you know, to their Pretty telling to their initial expectations of the Deep Desert. The initial expectations of the player base that they were going to attract, and the way it's going currently. Hey, Langdon, how's it going, man? I intentionally avoid the Deep Desert because I'm a primarily solo player. I'm having fun just exploring the world. GT Matt has been running the Deep Desert for hours on his own, Conclave. You can do it. GT Matt has a booster-based Ornithopter build. He travels light. He gets in, he gets out, plays safe, and
Fuck off, GT.
It's probably a shitload of fun too, because you constantly have that feeling like, oh shit, any moment somebody could jump me. I've got to get this, get it, and get out. And it's, you know, it's just a different way to play. This crazy thing to put in an official announcement. I know, it is crazy. Basically admitting that their initial vision for the game was that they thought the initial vision of the game, which I think is brilliant, is not panning out the way they'd hoped, sadly. Hey, Landon, how's it going? Sorry, he said, but what's in the Deep Desert that's so attractive? You play the game, don't you, Landon? Is this like a rhetorical question? Are they better than them, or have they simply gathered the resources through group play and or PvP to outgear the soloist? Possibly, Pedro, but isn't that completely to be expected? Oh, sorry, online, you wanted to get a message pinned. I missed it. Which one was it, man? I'm sorry. They thought gamers would socialize and team up, but they are. Like, there's plenty of guilds that are. That said, I do wonder if this game would benefit from pure factional warfare and not just free-for-all. And, just like PlanetSide, give us a faction chat. Which, you know, we've been talking about on Discord in the guild, that there needs to be a faction chat. Even now, there needs to be a faction chat to actually strategize your choice for the Landsrad, because the free-for-all is chaos in PvP, and it's also chaos for choosing the Landsrad terms, because everyone's just voting on the Landsrad term they want based on what their guild would benefit the most from, ultimately, instead of what the faction would benefit from. Or maybe they are looking at it from the faction perspective, but you'll never know because you can't communicate with your faction. It would just be an Atreides stomp in most servers. Well, they're introducing a third faction for that reason. And there are ways they can balance it out. I feel like once they introduce the third faction, maybe it should just be purely factional warfare from that point. I never liked the idea of everyone fighting everyone anyway. The free-for-all side of it is stupid in my opinion. That's not Dune. And I think it was Funcom's lazy way of dealing with this problem sooner rather than later. And it's not a problem for them right now, but I feel like it would probably fix more than it would break at the moment. I think making it factional warfare right now would fix more than it would break, because these solo players would have an entire faction behind them anytime they went to the Deep Desert. The PvE players would have an entire faction supporting them in their endeavors automatically, and it almost solves that problem on its own. Because they could just call, oh, there's a bunch of my guys from Harkonnen. I'm going to go over there and mine some spice or mine some, steel or some other high-tier resource. While my faction's over here running an operation, doing whatever they're doing, fighting the Atreides, I'm going to go in and do this. I don't know. Hey, Siren, how's it going, man? Okay, GT, thank you. Personally, when it comes to PvP games, I enjoy the tension the threat of PvP brings. I can do whatever activity I want to do, but need to be prepared and can't fully relax because I could get killed at any moment. I think there are a huge amount of people that don't value that tension and just want to mine spice in peace. The problem is people want the game to change to suit them rather than changing the way they play to suit the game. Just look at SC and its PvP, PvE issues. It's the exact same thing going on here, Alex. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Nick, it really doesn't make any sense. I don't know why. I do know why they did it this way. It solved them the problem of having to deal with faction balance from day one. Oh, well, everybody can fight everybody. Yeah, that doesn't matter. You know, it's fine. Everybody can fight everybody, so we don't really need to balance the factions. But you're still going to have bigger guilds. Yeah, Zoa, that's a good idea. Maybe the game needs some kind of guild recruitment UI window or guild recruiting UI window or a group finder. Yeah, like a group finder or something. Because then, again, solo players could find people to play with. You could start a group. You're an experienced Deep Desert player. Here's my group. Taking solo players. Or taking new players. Teaching people how to, you know, I don't know. Again, a bit like Star Citizen issues. Yeah, like Patrick, I get that, but then you just don't participate in that element of the game. You don't try and change that element of the game, in my opinion. How you doing, Siren? Sounds like the third faction is just for the Landsrat, so we probably won't even see them in the Deep Desert. Does it? Does it sound like they're just going to be like a faction on the board, Tanaku? Pencil Dust, welcome in. You've been here before, Pencil Dust. How you doing? Hey, good question. What? Jesus, the animal. Please do not spam that, please. Big question. What will happen when you fly right now in the deep desert because of the big storm? You'll just take damage. You'll if you stay in there when it runs its full course, I think you just die. You just lose. Well, you just die basically. So you'd probably lose your ornithopter. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Chat. Hey, Warped. How's it going, man? Dune chat. Yeah, we're just talking about the big update that came out from Joel and Funcom, basically on their vision of the game. I think the main issue is solo players. No solo player wants to be ganked by a large group. PvE is going to be mostly solo players, and for want of a better term, solo players are too shy to join a guild. Yeah. So, if you're too shy to join a guild, you're too shy to play in a multiplayer game, maybe the multiplayer game isn't for you. Or maybe that element of the multiplayer game isn't for you, is what I'm getting at, you know, ultimately. Again, like, there is a really good PvE experience in Dune Awakening for survival base builder enjoyers. Potentially hundreds of hours, you know. Nick just got 150 hours in the game and he's only just now ready to join the Deep Desert. That's £40 well spent, in my opinion, at that point. Deep Desert isn't for you. If you're not going to contribute to the Deep Desert and contribute to the Landsrad, contribute to a guild who is participating in the Deep Desert via your own PvE means, because you totally can do that. You can still contribute to your faction flipping the Landsrad and contribute to a guild that you're part of without physically being in the Deep Desert. You can still do all that. If you don't want to do any of that, then don't try and change everything about the vision of what the end game was originally supposed to be to fit your desires instead. Like, just choose to opt out of that part of the game. I think the Deep Desert should ultimately stay how it is. And like, this is the whole reason they added the overland map, is so they can add content that caters to specific types of players later down the line. I think this may well just be a temporary measure from Funcom as well until they get to that point, but you know, they could just add new areas in the overland map that are PvE exclusive. Hitos, didn't you only take major damage the other day when you were stuck in the storm? Yes, yeah, that was just a normal storm in the Haga Basin, like. The Coriolis storm in the deep desert, I think, will screw you up just as much, if not more. But if you're still in the deep desert when the server resets, you lose your shit too. Yeah, man. I'm not shy to join others, but there's only party invite and guild invite. There's no large raid invite to just join a large group of people. No, because, again, that was their anti-Zerg measure, keeping groups to 4 people. Oh, God, I'm on like 90, the animal. People in my org are a lot higher. Why, Pencil Dust? Why are you thinking of doing that? It's against the Twitch's TOS. And it's a dick thing to do. Again, I don't think character-locked PvE servers would negatively impact the game in any way, shape, or form. Like, why are people so against just giving people their own space? I'm not against it. I'm not against having PvE and PvP servers. The servers are small enough in total player count that can work with this game. The thing is, it's just the game has always been a mixture of both. The vision has always been that you would eventually take part in endgame conflict against the other faction. Yeah, Metatron. I mean, there's probably tons of people who have social anxiety that are part of organizations in video games. Probably a load of people in my organization in Star Citizen that also suffer from social anxiety. If it's the right org for you, that won't ever be a problem. You know, as long as you are a part of that org and an active member and you're doing your part, you don't have to be a freaking social butterfly, you know? That's all multiplayer games are. It's just people helping each other out. You don't have to be a social butterfly to be in an org. And
My desert.
it's all about finding the org that works for you.
My Arrakis. My Dune.
Online, did I miss your message again that you wanted pinned? The moment's gone now, hasn't it? There is this problem with how all PvP is air right now. This has to be balanced somehow. They are talking about that down here in this message cube. We have gone through this whole thing already. If you're just coming in, I'm sorry. We have read this all through and we've discussed some of it. But they are nerfing Scout Ornithopters. They are looking at buffing ground to air, which is much needed. Pin this! All right, I'm going to pin that now online and have it over with. You paid your channel points fair and square. There you go. Nika, you're not in the IMI. You're not in the Star Citizen organization. You're a part of my community. You're not in the Star Citizen IMI organization. We do have some activity rules that I know you don't fulfill. If you could fulfill them, we'd be happy to have you when we're opening applications. PvE locked servers has been what I was saying this whole time, but I think it keeps getting lost in chat. Do we have an update date? We don't, Brawlio. No, we don't, I'm afraid. Yeah, but here's my question then, Patrick. What are you going to do with the Deep Desert? What are you going to do with Landsrad? What is the actual point? What are you playing for? I don't understand it. Like, how do you... Where's the conflict? Like, I don't know. Maybe I am broken or something. But the whole endgame vision is about playing to flip the Landsrad for your control so you can influence the terms for the next week. The whole point of the game is to fight the Atreides or the Harkonnen. What are you doing on a PvE server? You're all just, hello. Yeah, nice day for a worm ride, isn't it, sir? Yes, it is. Are you Atreides? Yes, I am. I'm Harkonnen. Pleased to meet you. Yeah, that Baron, he's a right old jibber jabber, isn't he? He's a right old wanker, that Baron. I know. But, he gets some things done. Anyway, nice to meet you. Yeah, you too. Have a nice day in the deep desert. What are we doing? Oh, we're stealing your spice. Oh, cool. Yeah, we're going to steal your spice over here. Like, what are you doing at that point? You might as well play on a private server of your own at that point. We don't know the name of the third faction yet, Cube. I'm not getting jaded, Pilgrim. Not kidding. I've never been more clear in my life. No actual faction PvP in a game about factions is insanity. It is. I would like to know what the vision is for the game for the people who would. And this is nothing. I'm not being rude to you or anything, Patrick. I'm genuinely curious. What does a PvE Dune Awakening look like? Again, I think Funcom hit all their bases initially. They made private servers for those people. They made private servers for people for that exact reason. They could play the game to their heart's content, build the biggest, grandest bases, go to the deep desert, although the deep desert is still a bunch of private servers connected. But if you just bought your own, right? I don't know. You could just play that however you want. Yeah, I don't know. Private servers are just Haga Basin, not the deep desert. No, but you could maybe get a provider that has a deep desert rule set that's PvE only, because it's yes, your Haga Basin is completely customizable by you, and then all those private servers connect to a deep desert, which is public and run by the server provider. The server provider's rule set dictates how that deep desert functions. So maybe there could be, some service providers could be making a killing right now by selling some sort of PvE only exclusive deep desert mode, and then people will play there for a week and realize there's nothing to do. Yeah, Night Kai, there was a ton of over the span of like a year and a half. We've been messaging people on the iMy Discord. I put out announcements on my Discord regarding org activity requirements in SC. You would have been removed quite a while ago, and that just shows how active and concerned you were if you've only just realized. It's nothing against you personally, it's just there was a new rule enforced by the leaders of the org. You can't do anything in org if everyone you try to reach is inactive and not playing. I can't speak for others, but I get satisfaction out of just completing the game's content, and trust me, I know I'm the weird one here, not you. Yeah, but there's nothing stopping you doing that. The deep desert content is literally dungeons to get the better gear and the better loot and the better blueprints, so that you can fight the other people trying to get the better gear, the better loot, the better, what did I say? Schematics, blueprints, etc. So that you can then go and mine the spice in the deep desert to use in production and Landsrad terms, and other things that the game uses spice for, to increase your power level and increase your faction's power over Arrakis, over the Landsrad, and there's obviously ship wrecks and things like that, but like everything the deep desert is built around is around basically flipping the Landsrad. That's what's so confusing to me. Yeah, Yisha, you're probably right. Yeah, I think Patrick and thousands of other people picked the Dune game for that reason. They like open world base building survival experiences, and they're Dune fans. And Dune Awakening does all that really well, man, really well. But it's never been a secret that the end game was about factional conflict, interfactional warfare. Hell yeah, Solo. I was over 9,000. Yeah, Landon, sorry, man. I thought you knew. You only just realized that online? Jeez, what a power reader. Clearly skipping through the quests and not taking in the carefully crafted lore from Funcom, so he could rush to the deep desert to pwn noobs. I knew it online. I knew you were a griefer. Yeah, like I said earlier, some of the best gaming experiences I've ever had were on PvE risks, PvE Arc servers, just surviving dinos and fighting bosses with the boys. I get satisfaction out of beating a game with people, not playing a game against people. I'm just a cooperative person by nature. Yeah. And I think Dune Awakening has never not been for people like you. It's just the game's current endgame is not for people like you. But you are not excluded from it. You can still very much take part in it if you're part of a guild. You can contribute to your faction's efforts, war efforts in the deep desert. You can contribute to holding the minor houses for the Landsrat by completing contracts. You can contribute to it. You just, going into the deep desert just isn't going to be for you. Now, Funcom is basically making it so it's for you. But to what end? Why are you going to the deep desert if you're not looking to take part in the PvP? Like, what is the tier 6 gear going to do for you? There is no PvE content to use it on it at the moment. That's why I think Funcom should just wait. They have the overland map. They can start introducing PvE-specific content, like high-tier raids, where you can go in and get that tier 6 loot from to use in the higher tier 6 tier content for PvE players. Yeah, Aegistrian, that's what I'm confused about. I'd like to see a full-scale war-type server for large faction battles. Me too, Conclave. That's why I got into the game. Yeah, I don't know. Just turning back a little bit to the faction thing, like, what do we think the downsides are of them making it faction-specific, like faction-on-faction warfare, and getting rid of this free-for-all shit? Do we just think it would be just too one-sided, just to benefit Zergs too much? I'm not familiar with Wintergrass from WoW, Milship. I didn't play that expansion, so I can't relate, but maybe somebody in chat can. Zero downsides. People are going to Zerg anyway. Yeah, exactly, right? It's either you're fighting a guild Zerg or you're fighting a faction Zerg. At least against the faction Zerg, you're united with your faction. Your whole faction is dealing with the same problem. Details, looks like we're getting a public test client soon. Check your Steam library. Oh, really? Is that a new thing? Just got added today? Oh yeah, public test client. Ooh, you can install it right now. Interesting. Oh no. I'm seeing people have added this to the library over the last few days. Oh, maybe that's just Dune Awakening, actually. Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe not. Okay, interesting. Wintergrass was a PvP zone brought in during Wrath of the Lich King? Right. Okay. PvP only zone in the world didn't have any effect on the game as a whole, but added more to the end game instead of just the high-end raids. Okay, well, the Deep Desert's different in the sense that it does have an effect on the whole world, depending on who controls the Landsrat. New World is sadly the only recent faction-based game we can look at as an example. Yeah, and how did that go in the end, Pedro? Did they have any anti-Zerg features? Raber says, like Archage, people just have ults on the other side to spy and attack your own faction. Yes, that's also a problem. But you can't do that in Dune. You can't make a faction. You can't make an ult on the same server. Right? Satisfaction of getting tier 6 gear and checking that box is what my goal is. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's another thing that basically it negatively affects the high risk, high reward thing, right? Because now if you're putting the tier 6 gear into the PvE zone, it's now way easier to get that high level gear, and everyone's going to be using it in the PvP zone without any high risk, high reward element to get there. Whereas you're just ticking a box, ultimately. Yeah, I would think so, Norbroid, and I think that was their original intent anyway. This whole reaction seems maybe a bit knee-jerk, but again, I get why they're doing it. They have a massive PvE crowd that I don't think they expected to attract initially. Purely because literally since day one, they've been stating that the end game of this game is a PvP game. Then just add a tier 7 for the PvP zones only. Exactly, Rossio. Like, where does that end? Zergfest in New World? Honestly, I think it should be divided. If you want free-for-all, hit the deep desert and fight worms and others for spice. If you want faction warfare, you fight in a different region of Dune to claim locations. That works too, Yishai. Actually, that works too. Does Funcom have the server architecture to do it? Is that going to split their already quite small player population, though, across the server architecture that's already there? Probably would. And you'd probably end up with a situation where people are just flip-flopping between the zones. I don't know. It's not a bad idea, though. Again, the way that Funcom's built Dune Awakening, they have so much freedom to build the game however they want. Yeah, Metatron, that is the point. Yeah, exactly. Having the high risk, high reward means there's an actual reason to go into the deep desert. Yeah, and if you're just putting it all in the PvE zone, that's one big reason people aren't going to be in the PvP zone now. As the weird PvE guy, I find the idea of faction-based warfare in the deep desert more appealing. Knowing that I've probably always got backup nearby makes people more hesitant to jump me. 100%. I really think that solves a big problem with it. Because just going into the deep desert doesn't mean you're not signing up for a battleground in World of Warcraft. You're not being pushed into PvP. It's just an area where PvP can happen. If you're not following your faction around to where the PvP is, you're not going to see it. So you can probably go and do stuff in the deep desert more safely if it was faction-based. I would love to see them try it, but I know they won't. I think the game's too deeply embedded in the guild-based warfare now, and their anti-Zerg measures. But I would like to see a faction-on-faction specific zone, maybe, like Yishai said. Maybe they could even be like battlegrounds from World of Warcraft. Maybe they could be areas that you fly to on the overland map with your ornithopter, and you fight in either small or large-scale factional warfare for points on the Landsrad. It could even be an arena like the freaking Part 2 movie with Fade. It could be... They could have arena duels that contributes to Landsrad points, which would be awesome, in my opinion. How sick would that be? 1-on-1 duels, 2-on-2s, 3-on-3s. Whoever wins, whichever faction wins, gets to contribute points to Landsrad. Again, one of the reasons I got behind this game is because it can literally do so much stuff like that while keeping all the other elements of the game separate. That'd be sick. Yeah. Yeah, arena duels would be badass. One hell of a practice. Yeah, I mean, they desperately need that. I think they've already spoken about letting people duel each other soon so you can actually practice against your friends. Love that idea. I mean, it would be super cool. And it can scale up as well. You could have 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s, 20v20s. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. There's tons of stuff they can do with the system, the way the game is built. But we'll see. Anyway, like this whole thing doesn't... This isn't like worrying, ultimately, to me. This is all standard new game stuff. They're just re-evaluating after 2.5 weeks of the game being out. And I still think the game is fantastic. I still think it has a future. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they start doing with this game. 2 faction enter, 1 faction leaves. Worm riding and raid should also be endgame. Well, none of those things are off the table and most likely coming. Warped. Don't know when, though. Dune Awakening. Matt, yeah. How you doing? WoW Warzone style or arena duels, both would be cool. Treat it similar to the Total War series where you have to bring your gear, supply the faction because battlefield supply is limited. Yeah, man. If you somehow tie logistics into that, you shine. Brilliant. Yeah, if you could somehow tie logistics to it, like in a battleground Warzone style, where the factions bring their assets, you know, that'd be awesome. But I also don't want that to detract from the open world PvP, which is always the most exciting. So maybe they could make it so that there are limited time periods where, like, I don't know, House Carino, the Emperor has called the trials. And for 2 or 3 days of a term, you can go and fight in these arena battles to, you know, please the Emperor or entertain the Landsrad. And to win favor of the Landsrad, the Emperor holds these tournaments, these duels, and maybe 2 or 3 days out of a single week term, there are like these active PvP zones you can fly to on the overland map and have like controlled PvP. That way you wouldn't... Both PvP zones could be active at all the time. Like Deep Desert would still have its 2 or 3, 4, 5 days of activity, and you'd have these like Landsrad tournaments. Landsrad tournaments going on the overland map that you could also take part in. Doesn't solve the PvE problem though. Yeah. Limited break of Canley for full-scale combat. Yeah, it would have to be faction-specific. Happy with Cham just because you were playing it today? We're not Norbroid, I'm sorry, man. It's a bit of a chill one. I just wanted to kind of talk about this big update from June. And after that, I'm going to show everybody the game that I have stupidly kickstarted. That I think quite a few of you are probably already aware of. We're probably at that time now, to be honest. I think we've discussed this to length enough. I don't think there's anything else to debate here. We got to just wait and see what Funcom does with it. I think I've stated my feelings towards it right now. And yeah, there's good discussion, good chat, everybody. I appreciate it. What game is that? Well, I'm about to tell you online. And I think most of you already know anyway. You would have seen it over a couple of weeks ago. Star Citizen 2. Can you imagine? I want the Thunderdome of Dune. Thank Detox. Now I've got to go right all up on their Discord. Yes, the Thunder Dune. Well, it's completely lore accurate, I think, right? I think it's completely lore accurate. But yeah, guys, thank you for coming. If this is where, this is probably where our Dune Awakening chat ends. If you're on YouTube and you're watching the VOD, this is the end of the Dune chat, I think. I think we've discussed it enough for now. Oh, there was one little thing I wanted to look at with this. Did they say how many sections of the Deep Desert would be taken up by PvE? Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah. Do you want an TGO? Yeah, I want to earn it though, Piggy. It's one of the only reasons I have to play 4.2. I'm gonna earn it. I have plenty of time to do it as well. But thank you though. It's Ahoy calling it, says Nova. Nova is pretty. Yeah, Nova knows. Nova knows. Nova knows. I did it. I did it, guys. I kickstarted Ahoy. I didn't put a huge amount of money into it. I got the £60 tier. It's basically Sea Citizens off, yeah. It's basically Sea Citizen, but I am a sucker for Age of Sail stuff. And this is basically Star Citizen in Age of Sail form. No, you can't play it already, Pilgrim. No, it's very much a Kickstarter. I don't learn unable. I don't. Look, in my defense, Ahoy, Star Citizen, I didn't back Kickstart Star Citizen, okay? I bought Star Citizen after the Kickstarter, like a couple of years after, like 2014, right? End of 2014. I'll forgive you because you're an island boy. I am. It's the British blood in me. It's the Scottish blood in me. I have Scottish sailor blood in me. Flotilla 42 in 10 years. When was the last time you played a sailing game? A real sailing game? Never, because there isn't one that exists. Well, good news, Detox. There's a game you can get away from me I can, GT. It's finally a game I can escape GT. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the game I backed. It's called Ahoy, and it is an Age of Sail Star Citizen. There are some similarities to Star Citizen's Kickstarter in this. However, they are not selling ships. I don't know how the fuck they're going to make the game. But basically, I pledged at like a mid-tier pledge, £60. It gives me access to the earliest playable version of the game. And in my head, that's all I'm backing. I'm like mentally, I'm not expecting anything beyond that. And that's what I'm telling myself at this point.
Every voyage begins with a plan.
The seaman. Not actual gameplay footage, chat.
A vision etched on parchment, foretelling glory or downfall.
Look, they have a very
It is in our
convincing
nature
Kickstarter.
to conquer what others fear. Death and dishonor, fame and fortune. The life of a sea captain is one of duty and relentless pursuit.
That's a great
True
name.
riches are not in gold and jewels, but in the stories we bring back
Exactly,
and the
Furcade.
legend we become. We arrive,
Yes, you
but
should.
never at our final
that's the plan.
destination.
They even pay tribute to Master and Commander with a bit of the music that comes
So we
in.
chart our next course.
Hey, disposable. Thank you.
We sail. We fight. We endure. For the voyage is life. And life is the voyage.
No, you haven't, Piggy. Stop being so pessimistic.
Hello and welcome to Port Royal, Jamaica, the vibrant heart of the West Indies in the year 1780. I'm Tyler, lead developer at Capstan Games.
Do you think this game has Rupu? If it does, I'm backing the higher tier F. Yeah, so that is obviously all CGI. None of it's clear. None None of it's clear, none of it's real gameplay. They don't have any real gameplay footage yet, I think, just sort of this in-engine stuff.
And today we're thrilled to set sail with you on an extraordinary voyage to the 18th century age of sail.
However, I'm still
With our
sucking in
project,
for the fidelity.
Ahoy! Ahoy is a first-person, multiplayer naval experience rooted in real history, built to capture the thrill, beauty, and brutality of the Age of Sail. This isn't fantasy, there's no monsters or magic, just the salt air, billowing canvas, and roaring cannon fire. It's a world that we believe deserves a place in modern gaming, one that's often overlooked, Hollywoodized, or simplified.
They are
In
100%
Ahoy,
pulling on
you'll
those
dive
Master
into
and
the world
Commander
of
hard
fully
screens with this
immersive
music.
multi-crew gameplay, where cooperation is the key to victory. Every player begins their story as a naval officer, bound to the strict regulations of the Articles of War. While their path may deviate from that of the navies over time, this trial by salt and sea is the making of every captain's grasp on seamanship. Whether you're captaining your own ship or wish to become a vital part of a friend's crew, teamwork and organisation is essential to manage, sail, and engage in fierce naval combat aboard these stunning vessels of the past. You and your player officers will carve out your own path through the management of your NPC crew.
See, I don't know a huge amount about sailing. Let me tell you that. I'm no sailor. But one of my life goals and dreams is to buy a boat at some point and do some sailing. I am also a massive fan of films like Master and Commander, right, and the Age of Sail stuff. So I don't know. For me, that's what kind of suckered me in for this. It also they're taking a very what's the word? Particular approach to detail. Very very high attention to detail with this game, and they talk about this a little bit more in the pitch here. But I want to make something clear, right? It is this whole Kickstarter, and you're gonna laugh. It's basically to fund their Arena Commander version of Ahoy. Beyond that, they've explicitly stated, right, there's if the funding goes any further, then we'll start considering the open world game that this could be, which is, ultimately what everybody would love to see. But for me, I backed it as what I'm expecting to be just like an Age of Sail arena combat game. If it goes on to become an open world Age of Sail game, which would be incredible, that's a bonus, but I'm not going to be like, that's not what I'm investing in. Yeah, I'll be in a coffin by the time this releases. I was literally doing the math. I'm like, yeah, how old am I going to be when this actually becomes a game? The only difference is they've actually got an engine. They've got an engine already with Ahoy. It's Unreal Engine 5. They're not building an engine from scratch. And Dune Awakening was made in 4 years, right? 4 to 5 years, so there's at least that. I'd love to, Dark Law, yeah. Blackmatic, good evening. I'm following this one. Love me some sailing. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of... I haven't spoken to anybody about this. I literally did this last night. I was feeling like shit. I was looking around. I was like, you know what? Let me go check out that Ahoy again. And yeah, I backed at the £60 level. But I'm going to manage my expectations. I am burnt from Star Citizen, but they seem to be well in tune with that. The lead developer of the game, I believe, is a Star Citizen player. You pledged as well, Snake? No way. No way.
Crew and the complexities of navigation.
I think there's going to be a lot of
Ahoy
crossover.
is a skills-based experience where seamanship
But we are so
can be easy to
stupid
learn,
as Star Citizen
but
fans.
hard to master.
Yeah, Dark Lord. I mean, I don't think it's going to be like Sea of Thieves for a very long time.
Our voyage today begins with a clear structure. What we call our staged development plan.
But just treating it
We're
like
not pitching a
like a highly detailed, realistic Age of Sail like team arena combat kind of simulator, or just ship sailing simulator. For my pledge is basically what I'm expecting at this point.
Sprawling open world on day one. That's our long-term vision, and it's still on the horizon, but what we're building first is a solid foundation. Sea Trials will be our earliest playable release. It's a peaceful sailing experience focused entirely on the feel of the sea. Working the sails, steering the ship, and learning to navigate. It's your introduction to the core mechanics of Ahoy, and it's where we'll shape the handling and interactive systems of our ships alongside our early backers.
Yep. just like Arena Commander. Oh, it's so the similarities are striking. But again, they've already got the engine, at least. Are you back in this game as well, Alex? Piggy. They better have simulated scurvy or I'm not buying it. Did you check out Sea of Thieves? I played Sea of Thieves back in the day, Dead Tide, yeah. Very cool. When did the Kickstarter end? 7th of July. What the hell, Alex? Really? Is that what they're proposing?
Following on from Sea Trials, we move into Arena, our first public release. Arena is a competitive PvP experience. 2 teams, multiple ships, intense naval combat. It's fast-paced and focused. Arena places you in one of many real-world locations. We often choose these battle maps based on key historical engagements within the Caribbean. Each map location will be a contained space, which can be used for any of Arena's current or planned game modes. At Arena's public release, we intend to feature many different ways to play. For now, there are 4 key modes we plan to include. Firstly, Sea Trials, a continuation of our original alpha release.
Which I think is a great idea, right? This is basically, you imagine Arena Commander Free Flight. This is the first access, Q1 2026. They're saying, if you think I believe that, you are gravely mistaken. I'm not expecting it to be Q1 2026. But they want to give us access to ships to just do all the figure out how to get their flight model. Oh, there's so many similarities. How to get their sail model together in the initial release for Kickstarters. You're going to play that, figure that all out, figure out the flight model, and then they're going to introduce the combat element of it later on. And that's like, I think to get access to that, you have to be the £60 tier, I think. But yeah, like I said, I have thousands of hours in naval action and made 3 Steam accounts for it. I'll be hoping Ahoy is everything naval action should have been. There is a demo for Ahoy right now on Steam. There's a demo? Is there? Oh, never mind. The demo is not publicly available. What? Did you see the size of that Union Jack? Goddamn. Patriotic 60 quid immediately paid. Hell yeah. Intense naval combat. How does that work? Very funny, Kurtz. They already got 5 times their goal. Yeah, they're already sailing ahead. There's a lot of similarities here, man. It's striking. It's scary. There's a lot of similarities between this and Star Citizen's Kickstarter. There's also a lot of Star Citizen players backing the Hoy. A lot of the comments on the YouTube video are, I am a mentally abused Star Citizen backer. Please don't mentally abuse me again.
Sea Trials will allow you to continue to peacefully sail together with friends within one of these contained maps. This is a great space for some role-playing, practice sailing, or community-arranged races. Next is Beat to Quarters. Pick your ships, set sail, and engage the enemy head-on.
Oh fuck, I didn't even catch that.
Work as a team to overwhelm the enemy and bring victory home for your nation. Next, Naumachia. Named for the staged naval battles of ancient Rome, and later revitalized in 18th century pleasure culture. This mode pitches ship against ship, every captain for themselves, the last ship left afloat takes the spoils. And finally, Dominion. Each map is divided into key objectives. Work as a team to capture, hold, and defend these objectives in order to maintain dominion over the sea and secure victory. Arena's broad range of possible game modes really opens the doors as development continues.
Yeah.
While we only intend to launch with these 4 game modes, we can see great reasons to explore other forms of conflict in the future, both on land and at sea. As well as this, we plan to continue to add more ships to Ahoy, which will find their place in Arena first.
Silver Hornets,
Each new ship will bring a new strategy with more ways to engage the enemy. It's important to state that we've made a commitment to never sell ships to players. All ships added to Ahoy will be added as a free update.
Did you hear that? They're never selling ships. Goddamn. You mean I've got to play the game to get the new... No. Bugger off. Not for me. You mean I can't throw my credit card at this... Yeah, they're not selling ships, they're selling cannonballs instead. Not selling ships, but they sell the sail blades. Dude, if they start selling every other part of the ship, I would lose my shit, yeah. But I mean, I'm fully skeptical. I'm fully skeptical. I'm throwing money at dreams here, just like all those poor people did for Star Citizen in the beginning. And thank God they did. But I don't know, man. At least they're not making their own engine. I freaking hope they don't. Many of the people who are backing this game have a lot of experience with their C, and I don't think they would let the same bullshit slide at this point. This is pirateware in its purest form, Terrence. I know, Papa Llama, right?
Arena will also feature a number of earnable and buyable cosmetics. We want there to be equally exciting cosmetic options no matter how you choose to get them. All cosmetics, whether earned or bought, can be further customized as part of your ship or uniform, allowing you the final say on colors, patterns, and other details. The 18th century was an immensely colorful period, especially when it comes to fashion and ship architecture, and we intend to fully represent the wide range of expressions shown during this time. We're hopeful that Arena will be an amazing place to explore naval combat like never before. Should Arena succeed as we hope it will continue to fund the future of Ahoy. That's where our vision for Ahoy really expands.
Oh, this is where they get you with the hook, line, and sinker. The open world idea, the idea of an open world Age of Sail game like Star Citizen, when you and your friends can get on a boat and sail around pirating and looting and running quests and contracts and trading. I just remember the last game that I ever played that was like this now, and it's Pirates of the Burning Sea. Raise your hand if that game burned you hard. I just remembered, many years ago, I can't remember when that came out, but I was heavily invested in Pirates of the Burning Sea. And that sucked. No, it wasn't amazing. They totally went back on the idea of what it was supposed to be, in my opinion. I followed the development of that game very closely for many years. And then it sort of became this weird, arcadey, not what I thought it was going to be. It was fucking brilliant. Pirates of the Burning Sea, man, that is such a throwback. I totally forgotten that existed, and I just remembered it now looking at this. Didn't Few of SC marketing team just leave? Must be their new project. It could be. It could be. Anyway, like the open world, again, this is the part of the game that I am least expecting to happen, but cross the arena bridge first.
Ultimate vision of Ahoy is to build a persistent, multiplayer, open world.
No, they're only
Imagine
promising
the
to build
entire
the
Caribbean
Caribbean
coastline fully explorable. Player-driven economies. Long-standing of Ahoy is to build a persistent, multiplayer, open world. Imagine the entire Caribbean coastline fully explorable. Player-driven economies.
Imagine.
Long-standing factions and naval conflicts. Trade, smuggling, piracy. The true Age of Sail dream. The open world would become a living and immersive recreation of the West Indies. We envision a Caribbean where you can sail from end to end with a mixed PvP and PvE environment, where players smuggle, trade, and wage war across national lines. You might recruit a crew from a tavern in Havana and set sail at dusk, chasing whispers of a French convoy headed for Port-au-Prince. You might run dangerous cargo as a merchant, raid enemy shipping lines as a privateer.
Stop it! Stop whispering sweet nothings into my ear. No, no, no. Oh, man. It's so funny. It just sounds so good, but all I'm... It's giving me a chub. All I'm thinking is just like, I hate how jaded Star Citizen's made me. All I'm thinking is like, yeah, do you know how hard that's going to be? Yeah, do you know how hard it's going to be to develop that? Do you know how hard it's going to be to please every player that takes part in that game loop? Do you know how impossible that bit is? Do you know how hard this bit is? It fucking, like, as an SC backer, I'm like, I feel like this isn't going to happen. But at the same time, I'm like, this sounds so great. This is what I want from a game like this. I just have to convince myself that they would be able to do it differently and learn from SC's mistakes. Oh no, Kay Winters here. I'm sorry to any CIG devs. What's up, man? Hope you're well. You know I love Star Citizen. It's just not easy, right? It just ain't easy to do this kind of thing. Yeah, well, we didn't back it because we thought it would be easy. No, exactly. Pretty much, Ishai, yeah. Pretty much, eh? Man, I didn't realize there was quite a few of you who would be into this. I thought you were all going to laugh at me. I mean, most of you are, I think, but you'll come around. You'll come around.
Sit quietly with your friends, playing chess as your ship drifts under the starlight. Every player would find their role within a constantly evolving world. We're extremely passionate about this open world vision, and it's what we really want to build. But it's clear to us that this is a vastly ambitious project, and it remains a broader vision of what we'd wish to build in the future. Everything we're building now, both with Sea Trials and Arena, lays the groundwork for that future.
Yeah. And again, that's
one
how
of the
I'm
things
seeing
we're
this.
most proud of is our
It's the
commitment,
arena.
as far as it is possible, to historical accuracy. Every ship in Ahoy is reconstructed from real plans. Every uniform, weapon, and structure is built on reference and research. Our artists and researchers spend countless hours poring over archives,
face on that
museum
line.
scans, and written records to bring the 18th century world back to life. As we hope is evidenced in our digital reconstruction of Port Royal, Jamaica, Ahoy aims to leave no stone unturned when it comes to research.
This is an intervention. Stop dying. Unfinished games.
Thank you, Daz.
Researching, reconstructing, and visualizing the locations, material culture, and perhaps most importantly, the real lives of men, women, and children during this period. But our commitment to history doesn't stop at the visuals. The Age of Sail in the Caribbean was not just glory and gunpowder, it was also domination, colonization, and enslavement. The Caribbean of the 1780s was shaped by the transatlantic slave trade and the destruction of native lives and culture. We feel an enormous obligation to do this history justice, and we do not seek to shy away from its reality.
This is good.
While it of course goes without saying that these events will not form the basis of any gameplay features in Ahoy, players will not participate in these acts of brutality, we are actively engaging in academic debates on the subject. We are incorporating those consensuses on the subject and its proper representation in video games into Ahoy's vision. It is vitally important to us to ensure that our digital representation of this world acknowledges and reflects this difficult history with a careful sensitivity and duty of care. These stories of
They're not
hardship
just gonna
and
act like
suffering
it
deserve
didn't
to be
happen.
told, and we feel that video games are a form of storytelling
and-
that can
and
educate and
just-
inform like no other. We feel compelled to make the commitment that we will not sanitize the past.
It's
for the
supposed
sake
to
of
be historically
marketability or simplicity.
accurate game.
And we hope we can, by extension, expand the medium
My
of video
guy.
games as a source of education and impactful storytelling.
Yeah.
Throughout development, we will continue to seek advice to guide us forward and find a respectful way to represent
Hey,
this reality,
Cyborg, that's awesome.
as well as to stick to our commitment of historical accuracy.
Cyborg says he's also back this. I knew you guys. Part of me knew that there would be a lot of other suckers among us. 2 more years, guys. 2 more years. Like, this time it's going to be different. This time it's going to be different. The road to release. The road to 1.0, everybody. Here it is. Hey, Arnold. How you doing, man? Welcome. Good to see you. Honestly, and no joke, looks fucking amazing and it gets me excited, but even if they offer me money, I'll never Kickstarter again. Well, maybe that'll change when the arena comes out. Maybe they'll offer an actual early access or something. It's going on Steam. It's going on Steam, so it's got that going for it. You can refund it. We all backed it, and now that you have, we can you can admit it. Yeah. Oh, this idiot's bought it. So he's this idiot's bought it. It makes it better for me to say I bought it as well. Buy finished products as Aristan. You'll be joining. No, I don't care whether you join or not, or anybody joins or not. This was a thing I kind of did in on my own yesterday as a treat to myself. But actually, Aristan, you're a fucking sailor, man. You must. I bet this does appeal to you. I'm not saying you should go out and kickstart it by any means, but I guess there's some part of this that probably appeals to you. I'm not here to convince anybody.
About the roadmap. Depending on the success of
But,
this
I'll be
Kickstarter
keeping an eye on
campaign,
it and probably
we are targeting a closed
covering it
launch
here
of
and
our
there.
alpha release, Sea Trials, in Q1 2026. Over the course of that year, we plan to continually
Correct,
update
Snake,
and
yeah.
expand Sea Trials into the full arena release. Throughout this period, backers will gain access to key milestones, helping us test and refine every aspect of the game. We're targeting a release of Arena for Q4 2026 as a standalone experience through our own launcher and on both Steam and Epic Game Stores.
It just,
looks like a good game. Take me booty.
it's just so many similarities to see. It's PTSD.
Oh no,
man.
black spot. Shake ye booty to scare the plague o' my god shush pair. I be done.
Fuck's sake, thank you, online.
We don't currently have a release plan for the open world at all. It's a vision, we're working towards it, and we hope to have it in the future. But we must complete sea trials and arena first, ship them to you, make sure they're great, and then we can look at the future. Of course, once Arena has released and continues to develop, or if this campaign really catches wind, we'll review the timeline for the open world and keep the Ahoy community regularly informed.
Why Kickstarter? Well,
So, why Kickstarter? We want to stay as
how you make money.
independent as we possibly can. The games industry is, quite frankly, in a bit of a mess at the moment. We've seen friends and past colleagues let go from their jobs in the industry, and we've watched as veteran development studios are closed forever. The best course of action we can possibly take would be to work with our community more directly in the financing of production, so that we are beholden to the players rather than marketing beats or external deadlines. We have explored opportunities to pursue other forms of funding, but the compromises that could come with it, rushed timelines, simplification, loss of control, these compromises don't sit right with us. We're committed to building something that respects history, rewards attention to detail, and doesn't fall back on cheap monetization or Hollywood-style storytelling. Your support through Kickstarter and beyond will help us build Ahoy with our community, for our community, and keep our vision intact.
Now, there are some little red flags in this part of the Kickstarter. Particularly, they have a small dev team that's been working voluntarily up to this point. And, you know, whenever I hear volunteer dev team, I get flashbacks to the day before, who were doing it for the fun of it, right? Making games is bloody expensive, right? And their goal was incredibly small. I don't know why they had such a small goal. Maybe I'm way off. Maybe I am way off, like, my judgment in what it costs to make a game of the caliber of this. Just an arena mode of this, which is all I'm really backing. I put £60 in it, the second lieutenant tier, because I knew I wanted to get early access to the ship mechanic stage, the sailing mechanics, and the arena mode. And then for me, that would be it. Like, that would be like a Black Sails. Black Sails. What was that game called? Black Sails, I think. It'd be like a Black Sails game that's more like a sim than an arcade, and I would get my money's worth if it reaches that point, right? But even then, the goal was like 80,000, I think. What's that? Who's that going to pay? Well, it's going to pay like 2 devs for a year. Not Skull and Bones. Black Wake. Sorry, Black Wake. Yeah, Black Wake, Terrence. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Enable. 100k US. Yeah, 100k US. How many salaries is that going to pay? I've had my eye on this for a while and plan to back it with my next paycheck. Let me know if you need a helmsman. Welcome to jump on our Discord, Patrick. I'm sure I'll have a section for it to discuss it over the years, but they do have a Discord. It seems really good as well. Yeah, Black Sails was the TV series. I got that wrong. Black Wake was the game. Until the money is consistent, it has to be volunteer. They need to show as much interest until they can get operational loans. Really? Is that how this works? Sorry, Addicts. Lieutenant. 2 to 3 if you pay like the companies here. Yeah. So they've obviously surpassed that goal a lot. But still not enough, in my opinion, for them to even consider like the open world version of the game. Which is why you then bring me back to Star Citizen. Like, what are you going to do if you really want to make this open world game? You're going to have to get a publisher. Because there ain't no way you're raising enough money as like Star Citizen to get this to that vision. Anyway, I'm a little bit ahead of the video.
Capstan Games is a small team scattered across the globe. We're a group of developers, artists, designers, researchers, musicians, and performers, all bound by a shared fascination with the sea and a passion for storytelling. What we've achieved so far has been built by volunteers and part-time freelancers, working late nights and early mornings because we love what we do. To take Ahoy to the next level, we simply need more hands on deck. With your support, we can bring additional experienced developers on board to accelerate our timelines and meet the standards of quality that we have set for ourselves. While we are looking to grow the team, we believe engaging, detailed and expansive experiences like Ahoy are more and more accessible to smaller teams. We want to remain homegrown with a dedication to detail and accuracy, however possible.
Kickstarter rewards.
So, you're ready and waiting to set sail on our voyage. Let's take a look at Kickstarter and some particular rewards that we're offering during this campaign.
Yeah, definitely.
Firstly, for the earliest possible access to our Sea Trials release, you are looking for the 3rd Lieutenant tier or above. This will gain you access to our early testing environment, currently targeted for release in Q1 2026. If Arena is more your style, any tier from Midshipman and above will gain you access to your choice of either a Steam or Epic Games Store key when Arena becomes available, currently targeted for Q4 2026. If you're interested in physical rewards, we have 2 special items to consider. For tiers of Master and Commander and above, a beautifully presented book detailing the current collection of ship reconstructions from Ahoy. This book will include all of the vital information, historical background, and wonderful imagery of each of these ships, as captured in Ahoy. This book is also available in digital form from the 3rd Lieutenant tier and above. Or perhaps a real piece of 18th century naval fashion takes your fancy. We're really happy to offer authentic, handmade cocked hats in the British captain's full dress pattern for admirals and admirals of the fleet, with additional laced and unlaced versions available as pledge add-ons while stocks last. If in-game cosmetics is more
Guys, if you see me wearing a funny hat next week, don't ask any questions.
your thing, we have a collection of Founders cosmetics available throughout the tiers. Everything from figureheads to presentation swords.
It is Sea Citizen. Yeah, it really is.
Some of our higher tier pledges also offer the chance to become an NPC within Ahoy, or to sponsor the digital reconstruction and inclusion of a ship of your choice.
Classic. Redeemer, anyone?
Well, there we are. There is no doubt that Ahoy is ambitious, but with sensible milestones, careful budgeting, and the ability to expand our team, we're confident that together we can build something truly incredible. We invite you to explore our extensive FAQ to learn more about our vision for Ahoy. If you have any further questions, please leave them in the Kickstarter comments below, and we're eager to respond to as many of those as we can.
Size 8 ye olde magicians.
We hope that you've enjoyed this introduction to the world of Ahoy, and we look forward to embarking together on this special voyage for all Age of Sail enthusiasts. To close, I'd like to leave you now with a performance by our friends.
This song
Albany
actually
Pisador.
slaps.
Thank you so much for your support. Fair winds and following seas.
Ah, they got me, guys. They did get me good. Yeah, so I got the £60 tier. Roscoe says Unreal Engine 5 hurts the open world dream. Does it, though? I don't really know enough about the engine, to be honest. Yeah, this is just a Kickstarter, Arnold, for a game that's not even going to be playable for another year minimum. I mean, it could be wrong. They may well hit their target for Q1 2026 for the initial flight model tuning mode, but I'm not having any hopes of that anytime soon. Detox, you asshole. I wasn't going to spend any money today. Well, I'm sorry, but I had to come clean. Come clean to everybody. Yeah, I don't know. I think a few things, you know, for me personally, I'm treating it as the £60 is going to get me access to a cool combat, realistic sailing game. And, you know, that could go on for many more years, right? That kind of gameplay could be updated and iterated on and tweaked and balanced and improved over many years, right? And that's the kind of game I'm buying. The open world would be amazing, but that's another long-term investment like Star Citizen at that point. And I already have Star Citizen to keep me going during that and other games, right? So, I don't know. For me, like, that was how I convinced myself to jump in. And I don't know. I love Age of Sail games. I'm no sailor. I don't know much about sailing ships, but I love Age of Sail. I love the idea of I mean, that's Star Citizen, right? It's you want an Age of Sail experience, but sci-fi. It's all the same concepts: boarding ships, pirating the other crew, sailing a ship through the seas with your friends. You know, operating as a well-oiled machine. You know, operating as a good crew together and making it all work. Oh, Jake, you picked up some merch. Thank you, dude. Appreciate that. Thank you. Did you pick up a cap? Anyway, yeah, that's kind of the way I see it. I'm going to put this video in the chat so you guys can look at it. And we'll take a look at the Kickstarter as well. But that's their Kickstarter pitch video right there. And let's have a listen to this beautiful song. I'm sorry. The sailing model, the sea model. Anyway, let's take a look at let's take a look at the Kickstarter real quick. It's all makes me want to play Sea of Thieves again. Yeah. Anything to get your fix. Now here's the thing, right? We have a lot of experience now with something like Star Citizen. I don't think there's a dark mode for this, by the way. Is there a... What are you... I don't think there's a dark mode. I haven't seen the update logs or when it's coming. Will there be anything new or expansion? For what, Zolly? Oh, sorry, you missed it. Yeah, if you're on YouTube, sorry, it's misleading, right? You think we're still talking about the Dune Awakening. We have just come to the end of that discussion. I can give you the link. Zolly? Wherever that just went, where the hell did it go? Oh, where's the update? Here it is. Let me give you the update, Zolly. There you go. Basically, their intentions for the changes to the game upcoming, Zolly. So yeah, we're gonna have to do this in white mode. I'm sorry, guys, light mode. 441,000 pledged of an £80,000 goal. That's the only, you know, it's early days, right? Still 14 days to go. Early days, but it's a low amount, especially if they ever want to get to that open world. They'd have to fund it another way. I don't remember how Star Citizen's Kickstarter went because I wasn't there during its Kickstarter. Obviously, it just went crazy. Sure, they have some outside funding. Like somebody said in chat, I think a Crown said it, right? They start with this to show some initial interest, and then they look for alternative funding, I guess. Yeah, SC's Kickstarter exploded, I think, beyond anything else ever has. Should I do it? There is a 35. Don't ask me, GT. La 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 la. I don't want to hear this. La la la. Other people backing Kickstarters because of me. La 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 la. No 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 no. Don't ask me. No no no. Bear in mind, GT, I kickstarted this game because I knew I'd be able to get away from you on it. So. Kidding, of course. But anyway, yeah. I don't know. They to me, it's the arena mode that I'm backing. GT. I backed at the £60 tier. Second lieutenant. Just want to make sure there's no, like, doxing or something on this. I don't know what they show on this page. I think we're fine. So yeah, I backed at the second lieutenant tier, 1,493 backers. Sea Trials Alpha Sailing Experience. So Sea Trials, again, is the first mode where they hone in the... Hey, someone else picked up some merch. I haven't announced that yet. The D Trucker Cap is on the store. Who is that? Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Thanks for picking up some merch. Yeah, I actually snuck the decap back on the store. Slightly different design. The design that I have. I hadn't put it on store for quite some time. Jake pointed it out to me. Thank you for that. Yeah. The Alpha Sailing Experience is the honing the flight model of the game, which they anticipate Q1 2026. Game key at launch with this backing as well. Obviously, full game key. Founders Medal, Cosmetic, Officers Discord channel. I haven't claimed that yet. I don't know when that actually becomes available. Discord role, your name in the credits. I hope they don't put my real name in the credits. Early developer journal access. Phone and 4K wallpaper. And that's it. So yeah. Oh, Jake. Sorry. Thank you. Really? You didn't have to do that, dude. Thank you. I gave them £5, says Unable. What do you get for the £5? Do you get access to the arena at all? I thought that was like a thanks. You're a good, responsible boy. Good on you. Good on you. Your name in the credits, ticket to upgrade pledge, Discord role, so you don't even get access to play the game. I mean, that is responsible. That is responsible. Well done, Unable. Good for you. I already know your full name, Dave Turner. I'd like my kickback now. I'll give you a kick up the arse. If backing it to play the future full game is cheaper than buying an SC ship of any kind, sure thing. Any add-ons for higher backing tiers? Oh yeah, I'm sure it gets crazy. I mean, I didn't look beyond the tier that I was looking to back, really. £35 gives you access to arena game key at launch, but not the flight model version, the C model. It's the next one that comes out another time, Q4 2026. So you get access to the game in the end of 2026. But again, none of these years mean shit. Oh, look, it's Tongue. I thought I banned you. What? Was it only a limited time, Tongue? You are very, what's the word? You are very persistent. First Lieutenant gets arena key. I did. Amadeus, I did, dude. Arena game key at launch for the £90 tier. Sea Trials, Alpha Sailing Experience. 2 of each. So you get 2 of each. So you get 2 keys. Same as the second lieutenant, but you get 2 keys. It's got 440k now, Amadeus. Pounds, at least. Master and Commander tier. You get the physical ship catalog. Sounds like Jump Point. Founder's Signet Ring. Cosmetic item. Game key at launch. Alpha Sailing Experience ×2. Game key ×2. Arena key. And yeah, you know, it just gets crazier and crazier as Kickstarters do. Founder's Presentation Sword, cosmetic. Founder's Figurehead, cosmetic. Physical ship catalog. £300 tier. Game keys, multiple game keys. Rear Admiral gets a lifetime content pass. What does that mean? Don't we all get the lifetime content pass? Founder's Plaque in Capital Ports. Multiple game keys. Ship catalog. Physical. Who gets the hat? Become and design an NPC for £1,200. Who gets the bloody hat? £8,000 tier? Sponsor a new ship, the HMS Redeemer. Physical, Captain's full dress hat with lace. That's the £8,000 tier. 2 backers, ladies and gentlemen. We have more whales. There's plenty more whales to go around. 3 left. And then back down to some cheaper tiers. Oh no, there's another one here. Admiral, £2,000 tier. Doesn't even... Oh, you get the hat as well with the £2,000 tier. 10 backers. Yeah, I mean... I don't know. No gameplay footage yet, Fledger. But in-engine stuff in the Kickstarter trailer.
Century Age of Sail.
Everything we just watched, if you were here for it, Fledger, was all in-engine stuff. Hope it's authentically made, Mercury and all. So yeah, I mean, this is the second game I've ever kickstarted. This first game was Iron Harvest. I didn't kickstart Star Citizen. I don't know what even happens with Kickstarters. It says it only takes my money once the goal is reached on the July 7th, but it's already reached its goal. But I guess the money doesn't come out until the July 7th. £441,000, which is what, $600,000 something? Pretty good. Definitely enough to cover the production, I would say, of the arena mode. Maybe? I honestly don't know. Sounds like players are officers with AI crew. Yes, there are AI. They plan to include AI crew for you to control your ship. Broheim, they didn't confirm they're making the open world part. They confirmed that was their ultimate vision, depending on development of the arena game. So yeah, if you look at it from you're just backing a game that's basically a arena-based Age of Sail game based in historical accuracy, then I don't know. If you're looking to back it, just that's what you should expect. Anything beyond that would just be a bonus, but a lot of people are burned from SC. They know how these things work now. They know a lot about game development. Obviously, this is making some different choices. It's Unreal Engine 5 for a start. And game development's come a long way since 2012. It really has. Some of the best games made are made from very small teams now. No, it is player crew as well, Langdon. Yeah. I believe you'll be able to have AI crew as well, because it's... You can have... They're talking about 16-player arenas, I think, or 16-player aside, did they say, in the arena mode? Shit, now I'm doubting myself. They're making Flotilla 42 first, yes. Now I'm doubting myself about the player crews.
This isn't fantasy. There's no monsters or... Our voyage today begins with a clear structure, what we call our staged development plan. Following on from Sea Trials, we move into Arena, our first public release. Arena is a competitive PvP experience. 2 teams, multiple ships, intense naval combat. It's fast-paced and focused. Arena places you in one of many real-world locations. We often choose these battle maps based on key historical engagements
So it doesn't
within
actually
the
say how
Caribbean.
many players? I thought it
Each
did
map
somewhere.
location will be a contained space, which can be used for any of Arena's current or planned game modes. At Arena's public release, we intend to feature many different ways to play. For now, there are 4 key modes we plan to include. Firstly, Sea Trials, a continuation of our original alpha release. Sea Trials will allow you to continue to peacefully sail together with friends within one of these contained maps.
Yeah, so sail together with friends. Yeah, I'm pretty damn sure it's player cruise. It better be. Like, it would be crazy if it wasn't. Yeah, thank you, Tingle. He says they wrote somewhere 2 to 10 players per ship, depending on the size of the ship. Yeah, I read that somewhere as well, actually, now that you mention it. But there are going to be AI crew as well. I read that too. So. Should be enough to get the funding to finish the arena. I would say so. Yeah, I would say so. But yeah, man, I did it. I backed another game. I backed another dream. And I did carefully consider it for about 10 minutes. I did carefully consider it. I think it's definitely well within the realms of possibility for them to do this these days. And the lead guy is a Star Citizen backer, right? I can't remember his name, but he's a Star Citizen backer. Are you going to leave me unbanned? I mean, I didn't intend to, Tongue. Honestly, I didn't intend to. I don't know why you still want to hang out here if you know I banned your other account because of the way you're acting. The fact that I'm having this conversation again with you is already annoying me. Nothing wrong with dreaming. And yeah, I'm with you, Patrick. Like, people aren't burned on SC. I mean, people are. People do feel like they didn't get what they paid for. But people are just burned on the development process a lot with Star Citizen. And the constant changing and, changing lanes, changing focus, changing plans and development, basically, That is what people are burned out on with SC. And hopefully these kind of Kickstarters now have learned from SC's mistakes. If they don't, well, only myself to blame, ultimately. But anyway, yeah. Check it out if you want to, or don't. I put the video in chat. I'm going to put the Kickstarter video in here again. And that's the game, guys. That's what I've done. I think it's got 14 days to go. I think it's been open for 14 days. I don't know when they launched it, but it could still go quite far. They're probably pretty happy with what they're seeing at the moment. Who knows? They may continue to go up with their funding and then commit harder to the idea of the open world. But you're looking at a minimum of 4 to 5 years to even get anything resembling the open world that we would expect to be able to play. Sad that I got burned on back in a game before SC when someone tried to make a Firefly MMO, and that game for the verse got canned fast. Really? A Firefly MMO is a great idea. I'm really curious what the gameplay will look like. Either way, I'm assuming it'll be streamable. When it's streamable, I'll be streaming it. It's really weird. It's going to be like going back to the day one of Star Citizen streamers when they would just stream the issue council and the, hangar module. I don't know, man. It's nice to have another game that is completely different, but at the same time, quite similar as well. The pier module, yeah. The dock module. And I'm sure I'll be, following the updates and talking about it all throughout its development as it goes. But we have a lot more experience now. It's cool to be a part of the hype for a very ambitious project. Yeah, I'm pretty but not burned out, but I've put a lot of that into SC at this point, With this one, I guess, I don't know. Until I see some more concrete stuff, I will try and manage my involvement, I guess. And tongue is banned. Hey, Texty. Hola, how you doing? Hey, Flibbity, what's up? Marine Commander, yeah, exactly. Liberty, how's it going, man? Good to see you. But yeah, guys, that's it. That's all I got for you today, I think. I am going to call it there. This already went longer than I expected, to be honest, today. It was just a short one. I was going to talk about the Dune Awakening news, and I'm clean with my recent Kickstarter backing. Anybody else who's backed it? Maybe I'll start a room up on my Discord to be, occasionally discussed in. I don't get a ban option in YouTube. All I can do is time out. Okay, Flack, that's weird. Should be able to click their name and just... Yeah, the option should be there. Maybe not. I mean, now that Squadron Fleet is feature complete and they've migrated a lot of the team, we really seen amazing progress. We definitely have, yeah. Definitely have, Patrick. Oh, hell yeah, Flibbity. Nice, man. Is there the new content, Flibbity? Details, give me a nice straight shot of your face so I can AI you into an 18th century sailor outfit. No. I don't think so, Snake. I don't know if I would fit in. I don't know if I'd fit in. Thank you, D. It was a fun stream. I hope you feel better soon. Thank you, man. Appreciate it, man. I am just, there's some weird digestion, just bowel stuff going on at the moment. For a little bit too much TMI for you guys. And it's left me exhausted today. My eyes are burning. They feel like they're popping out of my head. I didn't expect to go on this long, but as always, you guys turned up and made it a really great stream. So thank you for coming by and the discussions and the chats. It means a lot. Wow, Texty. Amazing. Well, hello and welcome from Uruguay. Too much takeaway. I wish. I've barely eaten all weekend, GT. I've been fasting. I'm going to miss the Kickstarter, but I'm definitely interested in Hoi. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any mad rush, man. Alejandro, good evening. I was a new Warborn recently. I only picked up the game with the big update a couple of months ago. Oh, I would be fresh me too. I've never played it, man. Believe it or not. It died 2015. Oh, right after Star Citizen. No, that isn't. Actually, that might be the ban equivalent flag. Yes. It's shadow banning, which is great. Even better. Sorry, New Lexicon. Yep. Spent the food money on a Kickstarter. Yeah, guys, we're not eating this week. We're not eating this weekend. I'm buying into another dream. But yes, thank you so much for the chats and discussions as always. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Good talks about Dune. Good luck resisting the Kickstarter. Yeah, good job, GT. You resisted it. New Lexicon, I wouldn't even sweat that yet. I think that's so far away. That was a fun round. See you in the desert or around Pyro if I can, most likely next weekend. Sure thing, dude. Thanks for coming by. Appreciate it. Yeah, we'll see how I'm feeling Wednesday, whether it's some Dune or Star Citizen. I was going to play some Dune Awakening today, but there's Coriolis Storm happening every Monday, which makes it difficult. So Monday might not be a Dune Awakening stream day for me. Might jump into some more Dune on Wednesday. Otherwise, it might be SC. 4.2 is a small patch, as far as I'm concerned. There's not a huge amount of stuff I want to do in it. I want to get an ICT Geo. I want to get a standard ICT. And, run Stormbreaker a couple of times and do some Org Ops around Stormbreaker, but it's not a huge... It's a bit of a sleeper patch, I guess. Ultimately, it's some really nice improvements, some nice changes, but it's more of a mid-year kind of sleeper patch, and I think Q3, Q4 will probably be a crazier one. But I don't know. I will be playing SC, of course, over the weeks, but I'm also going to keep playing some Dune as well. So, sorry to disappoint my SC fans, SC Maxis, SC fans only. I'll be doing a bit of both. The storm doesn't do anything. It makes the whole Haga Basin map all stormy, doesn't it? Oh my god, look how quickly Tongue made a new account. I love Detox. This is crazy. Welcome back, Tongue. I still need to get with people to get... Hey, there you go. He was banned. I think that was you, Flag. Thank you. Good chance to practice the new ban button. Thank you. I still need to get with people to get 75% of the stuff from 4.1.1, so I'm a bit behind you. Oh, you mean like the stuff from Hathor? Bye, Victera! Bye, Victera! Bye, Victera! It's you! It's really, really you! It's open but wipes in a few hours. Yeah, it just isn't the whole map just stormy and miserable, and then the wipe happens? You can't go into deep desert? That's what I was planning on doing today, so I figured I'd just leave it for today. Really, Egistrian? Oh, maybe I'll give it a try next time. I just didn't think it'd be very good for the stream. I'm in a storm the entire time, you know? I didn't think it'd be very good viewing. It does work, Flag. There you go, man. Thank you. I hope we get some genuine exploration content in SC sometime soon. I just want to do Starship Enterprise shit with the boys in a carrot going where no one has gone before. Yeah, you better keep dreaming, Patrick. You're not the only one, but I don't think we're anywhere near that. They haven't even got, you know, the transient wormholes in yet for you to go and discover. Exactly, New Mexican. So visibility goes down to near zero. It's not very good. It's not pleasant watching from a stream, in my opinion. Me walking around in a giant sandstorm the whole time, not seeing anything, not showing anything, I don't think that would make a very good stream. That's why I didn't do it. Okay, currently it's a little windy, closer to wipe it gets really stormy. Yeah, I am just about to build my full Mark V Orny, but I might make that an assault at this rate. That's again for the stream, buddy. See you Wednesday. Much love. Speak soon and fingers crossed if you don't need to keep the legs crossed. Thank you, GT. Thanks for coming by, man. Thank you for all the support, everyone, as always. Really appreciate you all. Thank you so much for the support this month. It's been really good. You've been really supportive on Twitch, especially for the Dune-a-thon and while playing Dune a lot. I really appreciate it. My Features Explained video, my 4.2 Features Explained one, probably one of my worst performing videos for all the Features Explained videos I've done over the years. Year and a half. I think generally, like, interest is down for SC. So if you're wondering why things seem a bit quiet, I think there's quite a few other games people are playing, and the 4.2 patch, I don't think is a big puller of a patch. I'm also getting nothing but negativity on that video in the comments, and it wears you down after a while. Doesn't make you want to play SC sometimes. But I don't know, just an observation. But either way, the video's still doing well. Hopefully you guys found it useful. And yeah, thanks for the support. More content coming your guys' way, as always. No, you can't be in the deep desert while the Coriolis storm wipes, Jake. You'll lose your shit. No worries, Aegistrian. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate you all. Thanks for coming by. I'll see you all Wednesday. Have a good day tomorrow, whatever you get up to. Careful. Try not to pick up the £2,000 ahoy tier while I'm gone, okay? I'm not here to look after you guys.